Hey, Steve, did you get a chance to read my script here?
No, I haven't checked it out yet.
Okay, because if you could, I'm working on it right now, and it's really important. It's like an action science fiction film, and you see, there's this part where this guy he actually has to send a package out to a scientist.
Sure.
But the problem is that he has to spend about 3 hours at the post office in the movie, and it really bogs the whole thing down. But I'm trying to keep it semi-realistic, established in a real world, but
That makes sense.
And I just don't know. I don't know how to cut out that scene.
I'm not sure what you should do either. I mean, I know Battlefield Earth has the same problem.
Okay. I'm glad to know that I'm in the good company of Battlefield Earth. I mean, hold on. I got to mail something myself right now, so I just got to print out this label and... Wait a minute. That's my solution. In the future, they probably still have Stamps.com because that is the future of mailing postage. You know why, Steve? Because you can print out your own labels, tape it on a box, or whatever way you want to do it. You want to tape it on one of those cool folders with all the little crinkled bubble wrap in there? You can do it.
That'd be great.
Oh, it's amazing. And then just hand it right off to the mailman. And he'll be like, thank you, sir. Thanks for not going to the post office. He'll be happy about it. You'll be happy about it. And if you sign up to Stamps.com right now, you can get $5 in free postage. That's right. Go to Stamps.com and get $5 and free postage. Wow.
I think somebody's winning an Oscar.
This week on the PRESSURECAST, Castlevania comes to Kickstarter, Assassin's Creed Syndicate is revealed, the Nintendo World's Championship returns, and Xbox One dominates April NPDs. Plus, impressions of Project Cars and Lost Orbit. Everything happening in the world of video games is here, now, on the PRESSURECAST. Live from the 52nd floor of VideoGamesAreDumb.com Industries, it is the 78th episode of the PRESSURECAST, VideoGamesAre.com's weekly video game podcast that posts every single Monday on iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, TuneIn Radio, and the longest-running independent newspaper in North America at ShepherdExpress.com. My name is Colin, 2 Coffees Tanner, and as always, I've got 2 coffees to drink on this crazy video game journey. And across from me, Steve Cuff. I want to.
I like that. I don't have a nickname. I just have an extended first name.
Yeah,
that works for me.
Steve Cuff. How's that work for you? Is that okay?
I think it's pretty good. I think I'd do well as a boxer.
Yeah, as a boxer. I like that. Oh my God, what a week it has been. How you been all week, though?
I've been doing great, man. Holding up.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Drinking the protein shakes?
Drinking a lot of tequila, if that counts. Okay. Is the worm, is that protein?
Yeah.
Yeah. Tons of protein.
You ever do the tequila with a scorpion in it?
No. Can you eat the scorpion?
Yeah, oh yeah. It's got like a mild hallucinatory? Hallucinatory?
Hallucinogenic? Yeah, that's
right. Hallucinogenic effect. I'm thinking of hypoallergenic all of a sudden. I was like, what am I...
Hypoallergenic?
Yeah, it's anybody can eat the scorpion.
You eat the scorpion and then, longer sneeze when it's pollen season.
You're absolutely fine out there. Absolutely. Yeah. You don't have any allergies affecting you whatsoever if you eat the scorpion. Mm-hmm. That's my holistic medicine. It's like, no, you don't need all this... You don't need all this allergy medication. You just need to get stung or eat a live scorpion.
Who needs Benadryl when you got scorpions?
I bet you there is somebody out there pushing that. If you can think of like bullshit A and result B, there was someone selling that to someone, maybe in like a shack somewhere in Canada.
That's what they used to do. Mexican border radio stations. They used to.
Is that right?
Yeah, they used to sell like, fake holistic BS snake oil medicine type stuff. There was one guy who he made like millions and millions of dollars, and he almost became the governor of Oklahoma at one point. But his whole thing was he broadcasts this radio signal, and he convinced people, like men who were impotent, to come down to his doctor's office in Mexico, and he implanted them with goat testicles.
Oh, God. No.
So, hey, kids, if you live in the American Southwest, there's a good chance you might have like a grandfather or great-grandfather with a goat testicle sewed into him.
Oh, when was this?
This was in the 1940s.
Okay, thank God. I thought you were like, the year was 1991. And a young
The year of our Lord, 2009. No, it was the 1940s. But yeah, that's a thing.
It was a different time when Obama was in office.
Goat testicles, man.
Hey.
Well,
speaking of ghost testicles,
Spooky.
which is a horror film I'm working on right now. Goat testicles. If you had goat testicles instead of human testicles, that would probably be the end of the world for you.
Sure.
As is the earth-shattering stories of the week. That gets louder every week. Every week. Hey, I have such fantastic news for people that like things that I like, and I like the thing I'm about to read. Koji Igarashi, also known as Iga. He used to be the producer of Castlevania, coming in around the mid to late 90s, involving himself with, Castlevania Symphony of the Night, which is like his very first like real project, his project, and then being involved in all the DS titles, the Game Boy Advance titles, and then also those 3D PS2 titles, as well as that Xbox Live game and kind of the fighting game on the Wii. But regardless, he is back. He is on Kickstarter, and he has this game called Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. And it looks a lot like Castlevania, and that's no coincidence. He's even calling it an Igavania. I know. Is that not great?
Isn't that a clever phrase?
Well, they needed $500,000. They got that in 3.5 hours.
Ooh.
And they are at $2.2 million with 26 days left to go. According to the Kickstarter page, it is an exploration-focused side-scrolling platformer featuring RPG and crafting elements. Crafting elements would be new to the Castlevania series, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so. But it's also par for the course in the current video game landscape.
Makes me sad.
Surprised it's not open world, too.
And you can like jack demons for their ghost rides and their ghost testicles.
Yeah, you got to punch trees for wood.
Oh God, I hope not.
That's half the new games on Steam. If you have a game on Steam greenlight, I think one of the prerequisites is you have to punch trees for wood.
You know, now that I say it out loud, in Dawn of Sorrow and Aria of Sorrow, you would actually collect souls from your enemies, and when you combine those souls together, you would get like a certain effect with them. So maybe that's all he's doing.
Yeah, sure, okay.
But either way, so if you're not familiar with Castlevania, turn out the podcast. Get out of here. Get out. I'm sorry. Come back. I apologize. Seriously, if you're not familiar with Castlevania, like Castlevania for me is up there with like Mario and, like Mario Tennis and like Mario Golf as like the most influential games of all time. And, I mean, things like Symphony of the Night or even, the earliest Castlevanias on the NES are just earth-shattering as 2D games. Their 3D games were always garbage. Just saying it. But here's what's crazy. They're actually developing this game with Unreal Engine 4. So it'll be 2.5D, but as they pointed out, it'll be somewhere along the lines of Strider or Guilty Gear, which are 2.5.
So it's not going to be like Castlevania 64 running on Unreal 4.
Yeah,
that would be hilarious.
Or that awful Mirror of Fate HD game.
Oh my God. Seriously though, like what if it was just Castlevania 64 straight port?
With like the motorcycles and all that. That would be amazing. And you just hear Igarashi buying an island or something. See you later, chumps. Well, because they reached 2.2 million, that means that they've reached a number of goals, including a second playable character, extra hard difficulty setting, and the voice acting of David Hayter, the voice of Solid Snake, now in the game, which makes me happy. Also, David Hayter is the writer of the X-Men 1 and 2 films. So, not X3.
That's good.
It shows. So they've explained where these games are going to be released. They said Xbox One, PC, and PS4. According to the Kickstarter, our budget left us with 2 options. Build the biggest, most beautiful game we can, or make sure it runs everywhere from the start. As things stand today, we can't afford to create the 2 separate versions of this game that would be necessary to make it run on every console. That said, we've heard legends about a remarkable treasure hidden in the castle basement. What does that mean? Who knows? But keep in mind that this Kickstarter video literally involved Igarashi with a whip and a cowboy hat torturing a man to death.
Oh.
Yeah, and saying, hello, Castlevania fans. He's like he's pulling the wheel, and you see the guy's legs stretching out and screaming. It's awesome. He was on a throne drinking blood. Igarashi is really the hell cool.
That's amazing. Now I just want to go watch this video.
Oh, it's so good. And by the way, once they reach 2.25 million... it'll get a retro stage in Bloodstained. Once they reach 2.5 million, there's going to be a classic mode, which will be which rewards timing and survival instead of backtracking and exploration. Yes.
That's a lot of stuff that they're throwing in there. And, I mean, at the rate they're going, they're probably going to hit most of their stretch goals, right?
They keep adding stretch goals, it seems like. Because I don't remember some of these, including the retro stage or the classic mode being there when it started off. And believe me, I looked. You also get a physical copy if you donate $60, which is the very first time in a Kickstarter's history that a game is getting a physical copy on consoles. So here's my thing. Well, actually, I've been rambling. Steve, are you excited for Bloodstained?
Yeah, I think it'll be good, and it speaks to a larger trend that's going on with Japanese like auteur game developers. So
and British with Yooka-Laylee.
Yeah, that's true with Yooka-Laylee as well.
And American with Tim Schafer.
There's a clear audience for a lot of these older type of games, things like 2D platformers, 3D platformers in the vein of Banjo-Kazooie in the case of Yooka-Laylee. So there's a huge audience for this, but it's not what these major developers and console manufacturers want to focus on because they're too short-sighted. So yeah, you know what? If you're not going to let the Mega Man guy make Mega Man, if you're not going to let the Castlevania guy make Castlevania, they don't have to make it for you, and they will clearly make a lot of money. So I think if you are a big-name developer, somebody with some sort of name recognition and a decent resume, then it almost makes more sense for you to just branch out and do your own thing. And it even extends beyond game development and into game journalism. So, I mean, Jim Sterling is more successful now than he ever was when he was, an editor at Destructoid or reviews editor at The Escapist. So
I would point out the difference with Jim Sterling is significantly less overhead. Mm-hmm. He's not part of a team.
Yeah.
So he receives all the money, and then he has to worry about him
doing
spending the money. You know what I mean? As opposed to have a financier. But I think there's also, we'll get into Castlevania again in a second. We just heard about the Black Glove getting canceled, basically being shelved by the former BioShock developers. They went to Kickstarter, and it was not successful.
Yeah.
It seems that if you're going to be going to Kickstarter, you need to at least have your last great success almost a decade ago. I'm not trying to be, joking around. I'm not trying to be Mr. Funny Man, as I have never said a single joke on this podcast. I believe every word I say, every last goddamn word. God damn it. I still don't regret what I said about World War II. Those are controversial opinions, but hey, all I'm saying is if you look at the position of the stars on Earth, all right, you look at the skies, you can tell why World War II happened. But what I'm trying to get at is that you need nostalgia. You need people with a disposable income that you can directly contact. Whereas something like BioShock, for those developers, people are like, we just have one of those. I still have my copy of this other game. I haven't even played Infinite yet.
Yeah.
You need something that has snowballed beyond that. It's kind of like, My Bloody Valentine or whatever. Like, no one wanted them to release another album until 20 years after 20 years of people had picked up that album. So I think for someone like Igarashi, who the Castlevania games were always mildly profitable, they were successful. They were well received. I think now is the time for them because when you look at something like Ori and the Blind Forest or Guacamelee, these are games that are influenced by Castlevania. And so I wouldn't doubt that some of those people are actually donating money to the Kickstarter, which is making it so successful. And more importantly, like you said, there's less you didn't say it, less overhead, sort of, because there's not a publisher involved. But there kind of is. This was meant for a proof of concept, apparently, that the publisher is then going to match them in their funding or something like that.
Sure,
I don't actually know.
Okay.
Here's what I really want to say, though. This game apparently is going to be out in 18 months. Nope. Never. Won't be out in 2 years even. It will be out in 3 years.
You think so?
Absolutely. It's madness. But here's my issue right here. Castlevania, what do you call it there? Symphony of the Night.
Mm-hmm.
That game took 3 years to make because it was using all original concepts. Now, of course, they hadn't exactly ever made a game quite like that, whereas he's a well-oiled machine right now. But, really think about it, man. Everybody has these... You have to build all these new monsters. You have to build all these new locations. You have to build... you're literally using a graphics engine you've never worked with.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to get out in 18 months, and you're tacking on more and more features. Do you already have is the castle finished? Did they finish the castle yet? Did they finish all the monster design?
Well, I guess that's the one thing we have to figure out, too, is if it's just proof of concept, all they have is concept art and an idea of what they want to do, then, I think 18 months is unreasonable. But if they already have, a build of the game, then maybe they could do it. But, who knows?
Oh, everything they've showed is concept art.
Oh, okay.
And by the way, the story for this game, bonkers crazy. I listened to him explain it, and it was oh, you see, because people in the 1800s, they don't really believe in, ghosts. So the people, they run religion, and they want the money. So then they take the crystals, and they put the crystals in the children. The children then grow up. Some of the children, there are demons involved. One of them felt betrayed and goes back, kills the religious people. 10 years pass. I was I'm not even making this up. And this is all before the game starts. I'm I have no goddamn clue. All I know is that a girl will have magical powers and fight demons. All I need to know. And it'll be in a castle.
Works for me.
I know. Do you think if it was not in a castle, people would be excited for this?
If it wasn't, well, then it wouldn't be quite as Castlevania-y, I guess. I don't know. I mean, there's been other Castlevania games that have branched well outside of, the typical castle. So
yeah,
I know some of the DS ones, I remember, jumping around in snow and shit. So,
Yeah, that was Donna Sorrow.
Yeah.
It was the snow. And then there was Portrait of Ruin, where you literally jumped in paintings, and there's that stage where you're fighting clowns and shit. There's a circus stage.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, by the way, you should check out my top 5 best and top worst Castlevania games of all time. That'll be going up on Shepherd Express on Tuesday. But just so that everyone knows, number 1 is Symphony of the Night. Who cares? Just read it.
That's
I'm going to ruin it. I don't care. I'm just going to ruin it for everybody. You even need to guess. But what is the worst game? Wait and see. It's actually, there's a lot of really bad ones I hate on there. Well, let's see what Konami's up to. Because Igarashi is making games that are going to be out on the Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and PC. So what is Konami up to? Oh.
Giving up?
According to their new CEO, Hayakawa, he was talking to Nike, the financial things.
The financial things.
My brain is falling apart here because I'm so angry about Konami and what they're doing. That must be it, right?
Something. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Steve. Here's what they had to say.
Could be an aneurysm.
Yes, sir. Our main platforms will be mobiles. Bum, bum, bum. Gaming has spread to a number of platforms, but at the end of the day, the platform that is always closest to us is mobile. Mobile is where the future of gaming lies, where multi-platform games, there's really no point in dividing the market into categories anymore. Mobile will take on a new role of linking the general public to the gaming world. Following the pay-as-you-play models of games like Power Pro and Winning Eleven, with additional content, our games must move forward from selling things like items to selling things like features. We hope that our overseas games such as Metal Gear Solid 5 and Winning Eleven continue to do well, but we are always thinking of how to push our franchises onto mobile there too. And
here's a question.
Yeah.
Do you think in 5 years Konami will be releasing console games at all?
Yeah. Very, very small number, but yes.
Okay.
Very, very.
The heart of Metal Gear Solid has been ripped out. The heart of Castlevania has been ripped out. What do they have left? What is there at Konami? What's the bright spot here?
Kick the soccer ball. When you say in 5 years, do you mean Earth years? No. When you say in 5 years,
In 5 dog years.
Yeah, Mars years. So 25 years from now. No. Do you mean because you're talking physical copies? That's up for debate because who knows where the future of games is going to be. But if you mean digital titles, especially smaller titles, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
If Konami's involved.
But not like full store, like physical copy releases. I don't see that happening for them.
Winning 11, probably. Other than that, that's really, really up in the air.
So, FIFA's kid brother. That's their best thing.
Winning
right
11's
now.
really fun. Everybody picks on Winning 11.
And you know what? I'm not intimately familiar with FIFA or Winning 11, but if I say Winning 11, people go, huh? If I say FIFA, they know exactly what I'm talking about. It's like, it's not even close, the level of saturation that FIFA has over Winning 11.
In America, certainly. And I'll agree with that. And over in the UK, for the most part, FIFA has overtaken it. But there was about a good 15-year period where Winning 11 dominated Japan and the UK. It was always that thing that you saw in EGM where you would read the Japanese sales charts. Well, I guess I'm not using a royal you. I guess that's just what I did, because who else is reading the Japanese sales charts being like, wow, Winning 11's #1 for the 4th week in a row. Yes, I guess that explains the chart park in a nutshell. Is EGM. I'm starting to connect things. What a breakthrough. I mean, Konami, Contra. You know?
They've basically been farming out Contra to smaller developers for a while. And those games have been good, but I mean, they've never been, big time mega franchise games.
Sunset Riders, Castlevania.
Sunset Riders. They're really going to bring back. That's their business strategy. We're going to bring back Sunset Riders.
I'm just thinking about all these games, and I remember specifically in the year 1998, I was 12 years old, and I realized Konami was the greatest publisher that ever existed. I realized it that year because I looked at everything they did. They were making music games. The same year, 1997, Symphony of the Night, 1998. Metal Gear Solid. I went, they are the greatest publisher that has ever existed. They are auteur-driven publishers, and now they're asking, how can we sell people features? Can somebody tell us how to do that?
Oh,
Lord. I mean, business-wise, intelligent move, but it just breaks my, as Guillermo del Toro would say, my greasy heart.
Mm-hmm. Well, and we're probably going to get into this more with the Shark Park, but...
Shark Park?
Or not the Shark Park, but the Packet Tack.
The Pocket Talk.
But yeah, like mobile, there isn't a good sustainable model for mobile games right now. It's just, here's a huge influx of money, and then now all that's going away. It's a really like ebb and flow thing. There's no stability right now in the mobile market. So
that's really true.
I don't see Konami doing particularly well if that's what they're going to focus in.
They should just make something like Crush of Clans.
How about Konami Crush Saga?
Yeah. Or how about Konami Land? Like that NES game.
Konami Crush Saga would be great. All of your hopes and dreams for Silent Hill, Castlevania.
Oh God, I forgot about Silent Hill.
You have to match 3 beloved franchises, and then the CEO of Konami comes and smashes them with a hammer and laughs in your face.
Hey, you know what? Honestly,
and you always lose.
I am A-okay with Konami not making those games anymore. But for the love of God, and they'll never do it, sell the IPs to someone else.
Mm-hmm.
Just sell sell Castlevania to Igarashi. Sell Metal Gear Solid to Kojima. And not because just so that no one else makes another one. You know? God damn it. This means we're never going to get Symphony of the Night like on PlayStation 4. They're not going to re-release it, you know? Ugh. All right. I'm so sad. I'm so sad.
Colin's making his Konami face.
I love Konami. That is like whenever you saw Capcom after, you just go to the store and you rent a game and you never looked at who the publisher was, because you're dumb. You're a child. Children are all dumb. You pop it in your NES, you power it on, and then suddenly you saw like the Capcom logo. You'd be like, ooh, Capcom, I like them. But for like a longer period of time, and when it was Konami, it's like, I have no idea what this is going to be, but this is going to be awesome, you know?
Well, just remember, Colin, you don't love who Konami is. You love who they were.
That's true.
How sad.
Just call me. We can work through this, baby. We can work through this. All right. Let's discuss the next earth-shattering story of the week. Oculus Rift. Oculus VR has revealed the recommended specifications for those wishing to engage in virtual reality and life simulation.
Sex games.
Oh, that'll be sweet. You got to get the thing that you plug in, if you know what I mean.
Cool Boner Sim.
I thought you were gonna be like,
2016.
Cool Spot Hentai.
We got to get that on Greenlight.
What does Spot have that is humpable or humping something?
Cool Spot Hentai. He's got like sunglasses.
He just takes off his shoes and reveals their. Never mind. Takes off the gloves. Everything is just a dick, just covered up by shoes and gloves.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that, but yeah, Cool Spot. Which, if you're not familiar with Cool Spot, he's the 7-Up logo turned video game megastar. But when he removes his
Hollywood
glove,
once.
yeah, he has uncircumcised penis fingers.
Uncircumcised. That's so disturbing. Oh, okay.
They call him They call him Aardvark Digits. That was his nickname in high school.
No wonder people think I sabotaged the VR stories. I do this kind of shit. Hey, so if you're ready, Steve, to stop talking about dicks for a second, the Oculus Rift, here's what you're going to need for your computer. A NVIDIA GTX 970 or AMD 290 equivalent or greater. Intel i5 4590 equivalent or greater, which is pretty old, an i5,
Yeah.
you know. Well, an i5 4590, I guess it's a slight bit more recent of the i5 lineup, but, you know.
Yeah.
8 gigabytes or more of RAM. A compatible HDMI 1.3 video output. Ooh, that's going to be tricky to come by. You at least need 2 USB 3.0 ports, which that does worry me a little bit for some people.
2 ports.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Why does it need 2?
Oh.
That's weird.
One for each eyeball. And Windows 7, SP1, or newer.
Okay.
According to Oculus, the goal is for all Rift games and applications to deliver a great experience on this configuration. Ultimately, we believe that this will be fundamental to VR success, as developers can optimize and tune their games for a known specification, consistently achieving a presence and simplifying development. All of the games and applications for the Rift created by Oculus will provide an incredible experience on this system. They also do point out that a VR game will require approximately 3 times the GPU power of 1080p rendering. Also worth noting, don't try to play this with a laptop. Integrated GPUs will not be good.
Melt. They will melt.
I think your eyeballs will just melt. It'll be like, the end of Ark of the Covenant or whatever. Just your eyeballs just pouring out in liquid form. So, I mean, that's fairly reasonable, right? Far more reasonable. I was expecting something that you would need to build a new PC from the ground up, whereas this seems like most people, I would need to upgrade my video card, but I'm good other than that.
I mean, if you think about like the prototypes, and I know they've changed the design a bit, but I mean, people.
I'm moving your microphone. Don't freak out. Don't freak out. Don't
Oh my god.
Okay.
So people have been messing around with the dev kit prototypes or whatever for a few years now. So I figured it probably wouldn't be insane, and it's about what I thought it would be. Beefy, but not too beefy.
Yes, like the beefy Gordita Crunch.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think Oculus is. I'm just a little weirded out by this. So, I mean, they have to have a lot of cushioning in that setup where they say, "Hey, this is our recommended setting." So that must mean these are recommended settings that keep a steady 60 frames a second. Is that going to be the minimum settings on the games? Like, I don't quite understand how that works for a piece of hardware. Like, when I hear hardware and PC, usually the hardware is actually enhancing a game as opposed to being dependent on the game. Like, there's not many accessories.
It's like
for
a
PC.
power drawing peripheral. I don't know.
Yeah, that's also on top of that, like power. Oh God, I mean, I guess there's an external power source that you're using, and the USB 3.0 is merely for the,
So if you have a graphics intense game and you're running it with the Oculus, are you going to need something even more powerful than the Oculus recommended specs? I don't know. I don't know how this shit works.
I assume the original games will meet that specification. And as they said that they're going to design games around that specification. But it's more for me of just being like, that recommended setting, is that ensuring 60 frames a second? Is that, or more than that, which might be maybe 120 frames, which might be required for some people.
Yeah, and normally I don't care about how many frames per second a game is as long as it's consistent.
Right.
But with something like Oculus Rift, which already makes me nauseous when I use it, any kind of like frame stuttering or frame rate issues are probably going to make that even worse than it already is. So,
I mean, it's the difference between like somebody that, drives 5 miles under the speed limit everywhere and the person that keeps starting and stopping. Like, you're going to puke after a while. And then you're going to get out of the car, and they're going to start, like, following you home, and you're just going to be like, go home, you're drunk. You never forget prom. But okay, let's move away from Oculus. All right.
Goodbye, VR.
Bye. See you in hell. I don't think people are going to buy this fucking thing.
No.
There's no price listed, and it'll be out in the first quarter of 2016, and I feel bad. All you VR developers, keep fighting the good fight. I think it's really incredible what you're doing. I don't think anyone's going to buy this. And if I'm proven wrong, I'll be happy to admit it. I'll be happy if I'm wrong.
But you can update your Facebook with it.
Yeah, you got to headbutt your Facebook.
You can be in the Facebook.
Do you think that Facebook, they somehow, Mark Zuckerberg tricked all the investors by being like, well, this attaches to your face. We got to do this. And do you think he tricked them that way, or is he just have enough sway?
We're finally bringing the book to your face.
Yeah. He's like, we're going to call this the Facebook. We're going to sell it. You think, how do you swindle people?
It's actually an e-reader. That's all the Oculus is.
Oh, I could totally see that. Steve.
Colin.
The year was 1990, and America was Nintendo crazy. So crazy, in fact, we all needed to know who's the best. Like no one ever was. And so they actually had to face against a test, which was the Nintendo World Championship of 1990, creating the most valuable NES cartridge, that being the gold Nintendo World Championship cartridge, followed by the, regular cartridge. Oh, I guess American stadium events might be more expensive at this point.
Could be.
I'm not sure. Well, Nintendo has heard your cries. Well, I guess no one was really crying for this. And will bring back the Nintendo World Championships at E3 2015. In fact, you can compete for a spot in the championships by going to a Best Buy on May 30th at select stores, of course. After a few rounds, you will be joining your teammates at the Nokia Theater on Sunday, June 14th. That is the day before day 0 of E3, also the same day as Bethesda's press conference at the Los Angeles Convention Center, which is really exciting. Nothing really explained yet about what kind of games they're going to play, but it will be live streamed, and you can attend the finales in person. Apparently,
Exciting.
Fred Savage wants in hardcore. He was on Twitter and all that.
What about the Jenny Lewis? She needs to get in on it too.
Oh my God, yeah. You're right.
What's Rilo Kiley up to? Can Jenny Lewis take a day off?
Yeah, I know. Is Rilo Kiley still putting out albums?
No, I think she's just a solo act.
Okay, yeah, because I don't know. She needs those guys. Those guys balanced her out, I thought. What's that song, August or whatever, where it's the guy singing instead of her? It's like off their third album. Whatever. I like Rilo Kiley a lot. I'm not gonna lie.
I just like the Wizard.
Yeah, the Wizard. So I guess I get the feeling that nostalgia is being co-opted by a lot of younger people. Do you think we've reached the point where even like 15-year-olds are gonna be like, yeah, the World Championships are coming back? Like they understand the Wizard because they've seen like the Angry Video Game Nerd review of it, et cetera, et cetera. Like who is this aimed for? Who is excited? I mean, I'm excited and you're excited. But, we're idiots.
Sure.
Agreed, yes.
Well, it's a little bit different. It's kind of like splitting hairs, but so the way nostalgia works is...
Are you referring to the classic Bugs Bunny cartoon, Splitting Hairs?
Not exactly.
Okay.
Okay, so when we think about nostalgia, people are nostalgia for things from their past, usually from their childhood. The weird thing is, a lot of times those things don't need to be good. That's a common misconception. So, people who were, aging and stuff, like in the 1980s, this guy did a bunch of interviews with them and he found out they were nostalgic for the Great Depression, which is like, why the hell would you be nostalgic for that? But yeah, so that's a thing. But what we're experiencing here, where we have like younger kids who are kind of like engaging with retro games and stuff, that's not nostalgia because they never experienced it in the first place. So it's like if you met some douchebag who's just like, I love the 1920s, so I dress like a flapper, or something like that.
I do want to go see that new Buster Keaton.
Yeah. That's a little bit different. So that's called an antiquarian longing. So basically, you don't like the present, so you want the past that you never experienced.
Why on earth do you know so much about this, Steve?
That's what I'm writing my thesis on.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, retro game nostalgia, man.
Really?
So it's a little bit different. But yeah, basically, these retro games, they speak to something that's like missing in contemporary games. And they're so like markedly different. And that's also why we're seeing the success of things like Shovel Knight. So Shovel Knight is successful because it draws from a lot of nostalgic stuff. But at the same time, kids who pick up Shovel Knight, they're like, holy shit, there's nothing like this right now. That's cool.
Huh. You were talking about what's missing from retro games. The only one I could think of is Mario's missing.
That's what's missing, Nintendo. You need more Mario is missing.
You see, the thing is, like, you have to get Yoshi to talk to the lady that sells tickets, because otherwise she'll ignore you.
Mm-hmm.
And you play as Luigi. It's not very good. No, but that's very true. I suppose then, if they are going to take advantage of that nostalgia, will they, in fact, hold an event where it's like, who's the best at Wii Sports? Who's the best at, Smash Brothers? Or are they going to say, like, hey, who's the best at Punch-Out? Who's the best at Tetris?
Mm-hmm.
Like, will they mix old games? Would that be, I personally, I would find it to be a very intelligent move if they're saying, oh, let's see how fast you can beat World 1-1 of the original Super Mario Brothers, and then you have to play, I don't know, maybe a random stage from the new Star Fox. Like, they sucker punch you and go, here's the new Star Fox. You know?
I think that would probably be a good idea, and I also think they're going to figure out a way to use this as some sort of new release promo thing, just like with the Nintendo World Championships and the Wizard and stuff. Like, obviously, the Wizard was just a giant commercial for Super Mario Brothers 3. So there's going to have to be some sort of grand reveal here.
Wait, what?
I didn't sing in.
50,000?
Huh?
You got 50,000 in Double Dragon? All right, let's move on.
But yeah, I think, I don't know, they've been toying with this for a while, so I wouldn't be surprised if it was something similar to the NES Remix series, which does a lot of the same things. So you're drawing the nostalgia crowd with these old NES games, but at the same time, if you look at how NES Remix is structured, with like the 3-star system and the quick like 30-second bites of gameplay, it's very reminiscent of mobile games, which a younger generation is more familiar with. So it's trying to have their cake and eat it too. Here's the old shit, but we're presenting it in a new way that younger players are more comfortable with.
It's true, and it's always been kind of like the strange bit about mobile games, or even like more recent Nintendo games, is Nintendo invented consoles, like in America, like real consoles, whereas console experiences, previously had been emulating arcades. And Nintendo said, no, we can do very long-form experiences now. And now, like you said, they're taking influences from mobile, and now with the Nintendo World Championship, they're going to have to use their more arcadey titles. So they can't really take advantage of series like Zelda or anything like that. They're going to have to produce and bring out titles that are going to be quick hit. There is something kind of interesting about that. I'm not sure where I want to go with this, but, Nintendo is now taking influences from arcade and short burst games, which is just so strange to me, because even their Game Boy games were long form. Huh. Interesting. Although I do want to contend with you that the Wizard was not just a commercial for Super Mario Bros. 3. There was that whole Power Glove scene.
Yeah, it was also a commercial for the Power Glove and Rad Racer.
You got to remember, but the movie was all about
so bad.
A dead sister and what was it? Cowboy and Indian figurines going to Dinny the dinosaur's mouth
and exploiting an autistic child.
She was really good though. I like how, what the fuck is his dad do? He's like, get the warp whistle, There's that scene, there's all the scenes with people playing video games where you can tell they're not playing video games, where they're just like, goo, 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 and they're tapping buttons. Oh.
That'd be interesting. I mean, I'm really, really curious to see what they do with this.
I gotta rewatch The Wizard. And you know what? I hope that they actually do get in contact with Fred Savage. I mean, if they can. I realize he's a very busy man. And, somehow come to an agreement where he can come out on stage wearing a Power Glove with Lucas. I mean, I think Lucas was the bad guy's name. Why would I remember that? That's stupid. You shouldn't remember anything 25 years after the fact. So, that's going to do it for the Earth-shattering stories of the week. Wow, 40 minutes.
We're doing good.
I guess. You want to talk about the games? Or do you want to hold on to that?
We can talk about the games.
Of the week!
I did a little bit lower there than you. We should have harmonized it. What'd you play, Colin?
Did you play anything?
No.
Okay.
I haven't had any time. I've been working on my thesis and then
well, it doesn't sound like it.
Little bursts of Binding of Isaac in between.
You just slopped your way through that whole idea about nostalgia or whatever with all these made-up words. Just because they're big words doesn't mean they're real, Steve. No, actually, that sounds really fascinating. I want to read that.
Hey, when it's done, man.
Which I'm sure you'll have a few more panic attacks before that's...
Oh, absolutely. You can guarantee at least a couple of meltdowns.
Okay, great. I love it. What I played this week, I played Project Cars.
Is it better than the name?
It's really good. It's really, really, really good. And I really, really recommend anyone that really, really likes Gran Turismo, check it out. Let me explain how good this racing sim is. right away I felt a wave of guilt for not having a racing wheel.
Ooh.
Where I'm like, oh, this would be so much better with a racing wheel.
And this is a hardcore sim, right?
It can be. You can actually, from the beginning, set either beginning, intermediate, or advanced settings. Beginning means like, it's gonna be slower than Mario Kart, but you can still handle yourself. Whereas advanced means, hey, you held down a little bit too hard on the gas, so you're spinning out. Depending on the type of vehicle, there are so many different types of vehicles. I mean, if you watch the first hour, I start off by doing some sort of, whatever you would consider like a Forza style race, like the very advanced cars that if they accidentally, bump into a feather, going 3 miles an hour, then Princess Diana dies. It's just, and then I was playing some go-karts, and that felt totally different. Everyone's in the
go-karts?
Oh, sure.
Oh, wow.
Which is really good. And then I was like riding around in like classic cars, and all the races are designed around, different vehicle types, but they don't limit anything. That's what's so cool. So when I was playing in these like giant European style like cars, like the 50s cars or whatever, I played a course that was clearly designed for something with a better turning radius that had lots of turns, but it still let me do it. And the game overall, it has a great feel to it. Every car feels different. Like the way that you control the gas and the brake, you're reacting a little bit different. Everything is, you feel like you're really of that vehicle. The positioning of the camera is really excellent. You can have it like on the hood. You can be inside the car with the helmet. And if you are with the helmet, it actually automatically changes the sound dynamic because it's trying to replicate what it sounds like.
Oh, wow.
So the engine sounds are fantastic as well. The AI is a bit aggressive. They'll be more than willing to slam into you, though. You don't really have to worry about that too much. It doesn't affect your points. However, if you do drive like off the road, it nullifies your lap record.
Ooh.
Yeah, which is nice. So no one's sticking around online just cheating, and being like, oh yeah, I found this cheap way to drive right through. It just says, hey, you drove off. Nope, you lost this lap. It's got to be a perfect lap, or it's not being recorded. Man, I mean, it's a racing game, so it's really hard to like whittle it down into like just. I feel like I'm just listing out a set of features, but I mean, it's a racing game.
Yeah, well, and I feel like with racing sims, especially more so than like arcade racing games, it's all about that kind of synergy between the player and the feeling of the car, like just getting it just right.
Man, I was...
Which is why I'm bad at racing games, because I careen all over the road. I can never get a feel for it.
Man, you were bad at fighting games, apparently. You were
fighting games are very similar. It's just this kind of like zen moment with you and your character. Yeah.
We got to do something. I'm going to sit you down, and we got to do something. We got to stream it or whatever.
Okay.
I want to help you. Let me help you, man. There's just this moment where I was like in 14th place and driving in Nuremberg, or whatever it is. And I don't know, I was just looking down the road, and it was just kind of raining, and it was kind of like a foggy morning, and I was going pretty fast, and there were some trees, and, just whatever, and just really content playing this game. I really felt like I was part of the world. Like, there was a lot of care. It doesn't feel like a game like, you better get in first place or you're dead. Your children are dead. It's one of those games where it's kind of like, wow, there's something to this. There's something more naturalistic about racing. Like, racing isn't something created by some meatheads to, have you drive around. Like, it follows the Gran Turismo concept, but to more, even a more zen-like state where it's saying, like, no, the idea of movement and connecting with nature is inherent to humanity, and that's why racing is so popular. Like, there's a philosophy behind this game that can't really be described without experiencing it. But yes, very zen.
Yeah, well, and like I said, I don't play a lot of racing sims. I never even got into Gran Turismo.
You play Mario Kart.
I play a lot of Mario Kart.
That's
I like arcadey games. But one thing I do enjoy, and I think it speaks to what you were just talking about, is Euro Truck Simulator.
Oh, yeah.
It's the same thing. It's this very like relaxing, almost like pastoral racing experience. It's really cool.
But Mario Kart 8 technically is a sim. Because it's simulating the past 10 Mario Karts.
This guy's a jokester. Look at this guy.
But yeah, I don't know. Project Cars. Like, if you want to try a sim racer that, yeah, it's going to be dense with options, vehicle types, race types, but if you just want to try and get into it, I think this is like one of the best games to do so, because even I never did well in any of the races I played. Like, I'm fortunate enough to get in 5th place one time, and I felt very happy about that. You know, and maybe I'm just playing sloppy, but I just felt like there was a real connection to the racing where I didn't feel aggressive. I didn't feel like, oh, I just want to get in 5th place, and I didn't feel the thrill of victory or anything. I was just happy with my lap time. That's very hard to explain. You know, I mean, like, hey, my time's a little better than the last lap. Hey, I took that corner just a little bit better. You know, like, it feels like it's what is that whole thing, that Ernest Hemingway thing of like, you know, don't become a better. What is it like? Don't try and become a better person. Just become a better version of yourself. Just that philosophy. You know, I don't know. And it succeeded. Although it does not include an elephant gun in a kitchen, so it's not perfectly Ernest Hemingway. So,
but definitely get a racing wheel. Would you say if you really want to get invested in it?
Yeah, but like I feel like I'm going down a black hole just thinking about that out loud, because it's like, okay, what's the best racing wheel for PS4? Well, wait, the graphics will probably look better on PC. Well, okay, what's the best setup? Do I need a chair for this? Like,
A chair.
I don't know. If I was a billionaire, I would definitely have a racing wheel room, you know, because it's very relaxing. Okay, and so yes, Project Cars, highly recommended. I was stunned by how much fun it was. You know,
cool.
Yeah. Very, like I said, I think Zen really nails it on the head there. It's just very ambient, even though the entire time you're just hearing. You're just like, wow, this is nice. This is nice being out here. Could have a picnic here. The other game I played was Lost Orbit, which is a game I never heard about. I played 12 games this week, all in all. 13 games. Now that I say that out loud. 13. Yes. There's 12 first hours, though, that went up this week. Yeah. Hey, quantity over quality. That's what I always say. So I played this game called Lost Orbit, and I started up, and it's some game where you're like a guy in a spacesuit or whatever, and you it's like an endless runner of sorts. You have to dodge all the wave stuff that's flying towards you, and
Is this PS4, Vita? What is it?
PlayStation 4.
Okay.
And you know, there's some plants that have gravitational pulls, so you can connect to them, and then you can launch yourself off of them because you got like a little booster, and you have to collect stuff so that you can improve your stats, and watch out for rocks, you know, and don't crash into certain things, and then these are things that'll make you bounce around the area. Generic, right?
Is it a vertical or a horizontal one? Like, is it
a vertical?
Vertical. Okay, so it's more like Temple Run and less like whatever.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like a classic like space shooter, you know, crawling screen space shooter, but without any combat. So why am I talking about this game?
Yeah, out of all the you played a dozen games, why did this one stick out?
Because it's the worst game I ever played. No, I'm not doing that this week. It because it has a story, and the story's really good. And it really took me aback. And besides that, the game feels really nice. Real quick on the gameplay. So when you are flying around and you enter a planet's orbit, you can, as soon as you press X, you launch yourself forward, which means you give yourself a bit of a boost. However, if you're already holding down boost and you enter the orbit, you just boost forward even faster. So it's kind of like, well, what do I need to do right now? Do I need to pace myself because I'm not sure what's up ahead, or do I want to just go really, really fast? You can also bump into these yellow things that'll bounce around like a pinball, automatically teleporting you to different environments. So they'll have really close calls the entire way, which is really exciting and fun. And then you just have like these gas pockets that'll just boost you fast without any sort of direction. So you have to like maintain your speed the entire time. And you know, the upgrades are really nice, like giving yourself better control, faster boost, faster recovery. You can actually brake. But the story's really cool. It's just about this guy who's fixing something. He's like a mechanic, and then his spaceship gets blown up. And you just hear this narrator being like, this guy sucks. This guy's lame. Look at this lame guy. Like, what is he doing? You know, when I saw him, he was pathetic. What a pathetic loser. Like, and it harps on. And by the end of if you watch the first hour, I'm like, this writing really needs to scale back on talking shit about this guy. Like, I get it. You don't like it. Like, it was ham-fisted. But then it reveals itself that it's an AI that's actually watching over this guy. And it's told from the robot's perspective. In the past tense, and they start connecting and talking about like their lives. Like this human guy, he's like really a basic human. Starts talking about like how he's starving. He wants to get home, and he wants to see his family. He wants to eat barbecue, and starts explaining why barbecue is the best food in the world. And the robot has to explain that he doesn't eat. And it's just while you're just flying around this what could have been a very generic gameplay experience. And the narrator is fantastic for the robot. Just excellent narrator. And the music is just wonderful, wonderful music. And it's and no one's gonna play this, and it breaks my heart.
Is it PS4 exclusive or?
PS4, yes. I don't believe there's no Vita. It's also maybe on the PC.
But no, like iPad, iPhone,
no,
nothing like that.
The only thing I can say that's negative about it is if you die, you don't get to hear some of the narration.
Oh,
but in a way that makes you want to go back and play the stage again and get like a perfect
so you
run.
get everything, yeah.
Because I really like the narrative here, which is just basically kind of like, hey, I'm a robot, and I kind of feel bad for you because you're really pathetic. So let's just hang out and be buddies. And the human's like, like this is kind of exciting. I never really did anything with my life before, and now that I think I'm gonna die, this is kind of exhilarating, flying around in space. I never did this before. It's like a really, it's a bizarre movie. It's almost like the straight story of video games. Mm-hmm. If you don't know, straight story is just a guy in a tractor for 2 hours. And this game is just, I played a million games like this, set back in the 80s, but it focuses on narrative, and the narrative is paired perfectly with this gameplay type.
Now, do you know anything about the developer? Like, have they done anything else?
I know that they are, let me read, they are ages 24. They are ages 21. No, I don't know anything about these people. Okay. I don't want to find out anything. I want to beat the game first, which it might only be like an hour and a half long or 2 hours. I only played the first hour and put it down. Mm-hmm. But I really want to stress that Lost Orbit is something kind of special, and it took a risk. It made a very generic style game, but it feels like it was designed specifically to tell this story. And even though the story itself isn't amazing, even though the dialogue is a little wonky at parts, the feel of it, combined with the gameplay, combined with the music, creates something that is very tangible. So it's very atmospheric. I really like this game. And even though it's $10, just do it. You're supporting good people. They took a risk, and they deserve it. They took a risk. When you make a story that could be so hokey and so generic about like, I am robot, I feel nothing. I am human, I feel everything. Mm-hmm. And it works, you give them the $10.
You know what you should play?
What?
I think you'd like it because it does similar things with the whole, like, how humans and artificial intelligence interact with one another. It's called The Fall. It's on, you can get it on Steam. I don't know if it was ported over to consoles, but it's, genre's obviously a little bit different. It's not an endless runner. It's ostensibly like a Metroidvania, except there's not a lot of combat, so it plays out more like a point-and-click adventure game. But yeah, it's really interesting, and it's totally story-driven, and it's like $5 on Steam, so you should probably check that out. I think you'd dig it.
Awesome. When did it come out?
Probably like last year, and I think it was very well reviewed, but not a lot of people talk about it for some reason.
I do remember The Fall.
But yeah, it's really good.
The Fall, Steve's recommend of the week.
I recommend the game and the band, and also the movie and the television show. Sure.
What about the season?
Yeah, that's pretty good too.
Okay.
We'll go. All the falls are good.
Okay. All the falls are good.
Yeah.
The Fall of Man.
Especially that one.
Yeah, that's always good. Wait, that's a wrestling move, right? Is that the Ascension's move?
Yeah, that's the Ascension's finishing move. Okay. That's actually not too good. I don't like that as a finisher. So.
It's not that great.
It's like a clothesline, except it's like a clothesline mixed with that thing that you did to people on the playground where like one person kneels behind them.
Yeah.
And then the other pushes them and they fall.
Not everyone can sell it. That's what makes it inferior. But if you get somebody like Dolph Ziggler taking it, it's going to look great.
But hey, speaking of the Ascension.
Okay, let's go take a break. Oh my God! I don't know where I put my stamps! My whole life is ruined, Steve! Did you steal my stamps?
I didn't touch your stamps, Colin. I'm sick of you accusing me of taking your postage.
Oh yeah? Alright. You see this? Got a pocket knife. I know you got one too. It's time to settle.
You see that? You see this? You see this?
Alright, let's do it. Wait.
That's not a knife.
Wait.
Sorry, I'm expecting you.
I'm Steve. I just realized I don't have stamps because I signed up for Stamps.com.
Oh my God.
I did this a while ago. Why do we keep forgetting about this?
I don't know. It seems kind of weird.
Memory problems are rapid. I call it rolling memory blackouts because I drink a lot. And but you know what, Steve? I'm sorry for pointing a knife at you. I should really be pointing the knife at myself for forgetting about the quality service that is Stamps.com. The website you can go to, sign up for, get $5 of free postage, print out your own postage, and just tape that bad boy on anything you want. You want to tape it on a box? Want to tape on some manila folders? You want a 5-pound or a 35-pound scale? You can get it all from Stamps.com. And you know what that means? You just hand it off to your mail carrier. They'll say thank you, sir, tip their hat, and try and ignore you wielding a knife. And, you go on with your day. And you don't have to go to the post office. Which, by the way, Jesus, I'd rather stab myself with a knife than go to the post office. That's Stamps.com. It's a good service. Please ignore us. Just go there. So I'm sure you heard earlier this week, Steve.
Mm-hmm.
Harry Shearer is leaving The Simpsons.
He is.
And the show is still going to continue.
There goes like half the voices between him and Hank Azaria, right? Or Frank.
Is Hank Azaria leaving?
No, I mean he's the only, but he does half the voices, and then Harry Shearer does the other half, doesn't he?
Yeah. I mean, it's really funny because like I hear a lot of people saying like Mr. Burns is leaving The Simpsons. It's like, you mean Mr. Burns and Skinner and Smithers and like so many people. I can't even list them all the characters that he voices. But why are they continuing this show still?
Because it makes money and people watch it.
Does it really make money?
Yeah. Tons of advertising stuff. It's just got a built-in audience. Like, it's one of those shows where even if it's not as good as it was, it'll always you can always count on a certain amount of people. And advertisers love that because there's no fluctuation. They know exactly what they're getting.
It's true. I mean, like, American.
So financially, it makes sense. Artistically, it makes no sense.
Oh, no. No, it's shameful. It's downright shameful. So good luck doing a school episode when you don't have Miss Krabappel or Skinner. Sure, that'll go over great. Here comes...
Bart and Lisa are homeschooled now.
Yeah, well, they already did that in an episode. They did that in 2 episodes.
They've done everything. What haven't the Simpsons done?
Yeah, that's good because Bart gets homeschooled because he gets expelled from school. And then every 2 seconds, because it's in the garage, Homer keeps opening up the garage door and almost hitting them with the car. He keeps forgetting about it. And Bart makes a fart noise and says it wasn't me, even though he's the only student there. It's a really good episode. It's really good. They go to whatever. They go to an Amish village. What a crappy candle. Wait, that's a different episode. I'm getting confused. Maybe that's the episode with Otto. Okay, whatever.
Moving on.
That's called The Otto Show, by the way. The Otto episode, which is such a great name. All right, let's get on to the chart park. The land where money grows on trees. This is the part of the show where we talk about all the financial news in video games. We talk about where the money's going, where the money's staying, if the money's going up, if the money's going down, what's going on over in Wall Street, which fat cat billionaires will be, tipping their top hats to Lady Luck. What does this mean? This is where we talk about money. Okay?
Lining their pockets with your hopes and dreams.
As will Ubisoft, who had a fantastic 2014. Of course, the fiscal year 2014 ended on March 31st of 2015. Here's what we've got. Software sales generated $2.29 billion. That's right, $2.29 billion. It's an insane amount of money.
That is a lot of money.
In fact, it's up 45% from $1.5 billion for the last fiscal year. Of course, Watch Dogs, Far Cry, and Assassin's Creed were 3 of the top 7 best-selling franchises of last year. Digital revenue was up a crazy amount, 96.8%, raking in $601.7 million. That accounts for 26.1% of total sales. Really seeing a sizable shift for some of these larger publishers.
Yeah, so I guess it's great that their digital revenue has increased so much because I think it opens up more opportunities for them to do smaller titles like they've been doing for the past couple of years, things like Child of Light, stuff like that. But on the other hand, it's also saying that what they're doing with their big AAA titles is okay, and what Ubisoft does with their big AAA titles is not okay. Just variations on the same open world formula and just releasing broken shit like Assassin's Creed Unity. So what this says to me is if your revenue is up 100%, you're making money hand over fist, and you can ship something that's completely broken, like the PC port of Assassin's Creed Unity, then that's going to keep happening.
That was the digital revenue. I just want to make sure that, that's digital revenue. It's a particular. It is worth knowing that they had an operating income of $268 million, which is insane. That's literally up from 103 last year, which is nuts. Here's what I want to get in. I do agree with you about like launching broken shit. Like it's kind of incredible they had this successful of a year. And obviously we're going to talk about Assassin's Creed Syndicate when we get into the pressure points and all that stuff. But I mean, I guess Far Cry 4, Watch Dogs, and Assassin's Creed, I don't understand why those games sell. And I'm not talking about the quality. When I think about what the average person who buys games wants, I can't imagine they're like, yeah, I'm going to collect all these feathers to unlock a hidden story about George Washington's balls. You know, like, I'm going to climb this thing and shoot at people, but it's not like Call of Duty. Like, because I keep thinking people want Call of Duty, and I keep thinking people want, Madden, or I think they want, like, anime bullshit on their phones.
No, they want to climb towers and unlock points on the map, apparently.
Noticeably absent from these listings is The Crew. That awful, awful racing game that controls, like, shopping carts on ice.
Oh, God.
That was an awful thing. Here's what they did predict that they're going to reach 125 million in sales for quarter one of 2015 and 2016. So the quarter that we're in right now, which it does seem to be undervaluing themselves a little bit, and that's important when you're doing the whole predictions things, because you want to do something that you can meet. If something cataclysmic happens, you still want to be able to meet it, but you can't surpass it so much that it's like, well, you're just dicking us around. Like, I think anyone in the know, any investor knows that they're probably going to surpass 125 million this quarter. I can't imagine that they wouldn't. I mean, particular titles, who cares? It's all about the titles they've already released that will continue to sell digitally and physically, regardless of the used market. When we get to the pressure points, we're definitely going to be talking about Assassin's Creed, Just Dance, The Division, and Rainbow Six Siege. We just won't be discussing them right now, but we should mention those as games that'll be out eventually, hopefully, in this fiscal year. They also had to point out that South Park: The Stick of Truth has sold 1.6 million copies. You know, I understand it for a turn-based RPG, but the other part of me says, really? Just 1.6 million for the South Park game? Like, on everything? PC and consoles and everything? The greatest, most popular generation ever for video game consoles, and a South Park game, one of the cultural touchstone. Like, I bet you there are more Cartman shirts sold every year than there were copies of The Stick of Truth. What happened?
Well, I think it's two things. One, South Park's popular, but it's not as popular. Like, it's popular with people that are around our age, like, pushing 30 or whatever.
I see a lot of kids still love it.
But, I mean, kids like it.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other hand, you have a video game it's exactly that. It's a turn-based RPG, that's not the most popular genre in the world. So, I think it's a combination of multiple things. And, of course, the history of adaptations of television shows, movies, cartoons, not necessarily translating particularly well to video games, including South Park's long and storied history of absolute garbage games.
I was incredibly excited for South Park on Nintendo 64, the very first game. So excited. Like physically vibrating to play that game. And then when I played it, I was like, it's not bad. And I don't think it is that bad, but I say play Chef's Love Shack. That's really fun. It's fun.
It's like a trivia game, right?
Yeah, it's a trivia game that has like Mario Party style mini games. That's where I learned that the healthiest color of urine is clear.
Good to know.
Yeah. Thank you, Chef's Love Shack. Before you slowly descended into Scientology. Let's move over to Square Enix. They had a pretty damn good year because their net sales were up 8.3% with $1.4 billion, which is fantastic. The digital entertainment sales were up 18.4% to 112 billion yen.
Yikes.
I don't know how much that is in dollars.
Sounds like a lot.
But the operating income is also at 17 billion yen. Still don't know what that means. That's like $170 million. I don't know. The yen right now is incredibly weak compared to the dollar. From what I understand, it's never been a better time to import games or take a vacation in Japan. Dollar is just walloping the yen right now, which is also part of the reason why Nintendo had such a good fiscal year. Last week when we were talking about that is because most of their sales were overseas. And as a Japanese company, that translates into Well, I was gonna say buku bucks, but that just sounds fucking racist when you're talking about a Japanese company. I always hear people say, I don't know. Never mind. I'll talk about buku bucks later. I'll talk about that later. Off there. Here's what they had to say. The business environment surrounding the group is the midst of major changes, where smart devices such as smartphones and tablets, PCs are spreading rapidly, while the console games market in North America and Europe are increasingly competitive. Are they right to say that? Is the console market competitive? Because I don't see it as much of a race. I see it as being very competitive between Microsoft and Nintendo, but Sony seems to be just far and away taking the lead.
Yeah, it's weird because I guess I don't see it as competitive necessarily because you're right. It's Sony's race to lose more or less. But I think it's so big right now, and there's so many variations on what constitutes a home game console. Like I can turn on my smart TV and play Candy Crush. So now you're starting to kind of blur the lines between, well, what's a console and what's a phone and what's a micro console, and so there's this sort of blurring of mobile and home console spaces.
What's a mega console? I want that.
I don't know.
Is that just PC or something?
That's where you strap two PS4s together.
Is that where you're a console and then you defeat other consoles and you gain their powers?
It's like in the movie Chappie. Did you see Chappie?
No.
So Chappie the robot, because it's like completely funded by Sony, so Chappie uses his Sony Vaio laptop and like 14 PS4s to download human consciousness. Because that's all it takes.
No one's going to remember Chappie. I barely remember that movie existed.
It's better that way.
Let's talk about Tencent. They are the world's largest games company. Although, like you pointed out before we got on here, they're more of a venture capital group. Though, because they own large amounts of stock in Riot Games, a minority stake in people like Epic Games, as well as, GLU Mobile or Glue Mobile and Pocket Gems. Whew. Their profits reached $1.1 billion. That is up 8% year on year. The revenues are currently at $3.65 billion. Operating profit, $1.5 billion.
That's a lot of money.
Online game revenue, $2.1 billion. Social network revenue, $856 billion. Smartphone revenue, 856 million kids.
So, whoa, billion, Jesus.
That one time when Justin was on, I said Nintendo lost 500 billion.
Oh my God.
I know. Smartphone revenues, 700 million. So, if you're looking for a company to invest in, don't buy with Tencent. Wait for them to lose some fucking money so you can buy low. Because they are just sailing ahead, man. Apparently, they are using an Internet Plus strategy of connecting users with services in various vertical industries through collaboration with a broad range of partners. Synchronicity. Outside the box.
Is that just their PR statement?
Harder, not smarter. Harder, not smarter. That was my nickname in school. So yeah, Tencent, absolutely insane. League of Legends, of course, is one of the things that they are involved with.
That's a good way to make some money.
Is it? Do you know anybody that plays League of Legends still?
No, but I'm not really that interested in esports or competitive MOBA.
Question 1. Are you or have you ever lived in Korea?
No, not to my knowledge. I could be wrong.
You probably are not qualified to talk about that game then. No. Okay. Let's move on. So, remember King Games?
Yeah.
Well, they projected that their current financial quarter is probably going to have less than stellar revenues compared to their prior history. So they estimated 490 to 520 million.
Has the candy well run dry? Is that?
Well, the stock market took the news about as well as they could, and their stock fell 14%.
Yeah, well, it was overvalued when it launched, so.
It absolutely was.
Yeah. If you want to make money in the stock market, don't invest in mobile games.
Well, Riccardo Zucconi, he is the chief executive of King Games, had this to say: "We are pleased by the sustained popularity of our games, which is also reflected in our second consecutive quarter of company-high network reach metrics." That doesn't sound like money.
No.
And we look forward to leveraging the extraordinary power of our massive player base and launching new interactive games in 2015 and beyond. Stock market said nay, nay, and they took a major hit. Ironically, about 4 hours later, Microsoft announced that every copy of Windows 10 will be paired with Candy Crush, continuing the legacy of Solitaire, Hearts, and Minesweeper. So I suppose if they would have released that news earlier, I suppose Microsoft went into emergency mode and were like, they're tanking right now. We kind of need to do something. We can't let Candy Crush's perspective get hurt because this is our new operating system.
Seems like King Games is just sort of cannibalizing itself, too. They run TV commercials every once in a while, and there's Soda Crush, and there's Pet Rescue Saga, and they're all just match 3 puzzle games.
Yes.
There's no variety.
I find myself more often, I do meet a lot of people on the street, mostly unconscious, dig to their purses and pants and look at their cell phones, and they're always playing new mobile games. There's always new mobile games, and I don't recognize any of the games that they're playing, and whenever they regain consciousness, I ask them, how many hours you put into this thing? And they're always like, I don't know, I play it every day. It's like, what? No one's playing the same thing. It seems like it's a lot harder, even with all of those TV commercials, to kind of create that singular point that everyone drives to. Flappy Bird, how many people really play that? It seemed like it was a cultural touchstone, but a lot of people have no idea what that is, and they play a lot of mobile games. Because this is for people that are totally outside the loop, and therefore are inferior to us, the true gamers. We are gamers. Let's move on to more financial news. Yooka-Laylee is officially the most funded UK game ever on Kickstarter, with £1.585 million sterling.
They didn't even need Peter Molyneux to help them out.
God bless the Queen. Tea and crumpets. England sucks. Consoles will... No, I like England. Please accept me, England. I'll move there any day. Please just send me a ticket. Consoles apparently will control less than half of the UK games market, though. Can you believe that? According to Newzoo, which is a research firm, video game consoles will only account for 48% of all game sales.
It's not surprising to me. I think more so than the Asian market or the American market, I'd say Europe is going to be the first to kind of lean more heavily on digital titles and PC titles.
I'm so glad you said that, Steve. PC is being predicted to only account for 25.5%, falling by 4.7%.
In the UK?
In the UK.
That's interesting.
Because I thought the exact same thing.
Well, because, historically, there's so...
ZX Spectrum?
Yeah, they're way more into PCs.
I'm sorry, ZX Spectrum.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. But no, then the BBC Micro.
Yeah.
Because when I read
point of national pride, literally a government-funded PC for families.
I'm so glad you said that, man. Because literally when I was reading this article, I was like, oh yeah, PC, totally, PC. And then when it was like, that's probably going to dip, so where's all that other money going?
Mobile revenue?
Bingo.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's what's going to happen. That's just it. Personal screen gaming is what they call it over in the UK.
That's an interesting way of putting it.
So smartphones and watches, they're going to be jumping by 10%. But yeah, I don't know. PCs, like you said, in the UK, they existed prior to consoles. They existed alongside consoles. It's not like the case of like people, eventually buying a computer after already owning an Atari 2600. Computers were the way to go. They were the cheapest way to play games. Most games came out on there, and the biggest UK publishers were always on PCs. And now it's weird, So consoles are going to be down to 48%, where they were initially at 50%. And that means that, PC was originally like over 30%. Now it's being down to 25.5%. Very strange.
Yeah.
Very, very strange. Okay. Game. Game? That store we've never been to because it's over in the cursed land of England.
GameStop without the stop.
Yes, they are also going into retro games. They will be selling Sega Saturns, SNESs, Game Boy Advance, Mega Drives, and PlayStation 1s on their website. So definitely taking a cue off of GameStop's book to have retro consoles. Of course, like we said, PC has a history. Well, PC. England has a history with PC games, not really console games from the past, so I guess it's kind of shocking to see that they're interested in retro games. I guess you could probably use this in your thesis, sir, that these UK kids that had nothing to do with the Super Nintendo are now co-opting that nostalgia.
I haven't written anything about that yet, but it's something I definitely want to look into. Like, I'm curious how good the retro market is for old Nintendo and Sega consoles in the UK.
Well, there are definitely some exclusives. And then there's also, like, re-releases there. So, for instance, something like Stadium Events in America, hugely expensive. Stadium Events over in the UK, meh.
Yeah, it's like a $5 PAL game.
Yeah, no one really cares about that. Let's move on to Brazil, where they are having some record deals, including $10 for PlayStation 4 games. Well, it's not quite what you think. You see, there's this retailer that is selling 10 PS4 games for, $100. What you do is you bring in your PS4, they connect to a bunch of pirate software, install clones of already purchased digital games, and they give it back to you. What could possibly go wrong?
I can't imagine Sony's too happy about this.
Sony is already investigating, apparently, is what they've said. The Witcher 3 has already surpassed 1 million in pre-orders and counting. I know that I'm one of them, and you absolutely should get out there and pre-order this game because it's not like they're going to have many copies out there. That's what you should do, kids.
Yeah, it's not like it's, a digital game mostly, so...
Yeah, this is 1997, so you better pre-order your games, or else you're not going to get your copy of Mr. Do. That was also Konami, wasn't it?
Oh. Yeah, it was.
Hey, great news for Elder Scrolls fans. Here's what Bethesda actually had to say regarding used copies of the Elder Scrolls Online for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. The physical console version of the Elder Scrolls Online, Tamriel Unlimited, does not require a one-time game code with any other boxed PS4/Xbox One game. Only the disc is needed for verification. Any previous statements counter to this were incorrect. Which is interesting. It's essentially Bethesda embracing the used games model. And why wouldn't they, really, when you could simply charge them for the monthly fee?
Yeah, with a game like that, if they're paying the monthly fee, that's what matters. They're not making any money off the initial sale. It's keeping people around.
Wait a minute. That game actually went free to play, didn't it?
Oh, well then, I guess that's a problem.
Well, I guess you'll buy a wizard sleeve or something.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I'm sure there's got to be DLC or something that you can pay for. Wizard sleeves. Horse armor. Could be horse armor.
Oh, wow. Yeah, the very first instance of microtransactions on consoles. So young. So stupid. Now old and stupid, but, it was more interesting back then. According to Superdata, Grand Theft Auto 5 is doing gangbusters on PC. In fact, the entire U.S. digital revenue was up by 15% in April, reaching $1.1 billion. Here's what they actually had to say about GTA 5. They said it sold 441,000 units in the U.S. during April alone, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah, that is impressive.
I'm not really sure what does that tack up to, because they was charging $60.
It's a lot. It's a number with a lot of zeros.
Doesn't sound like it's $1 billion, though. Which, of course, the console versions made $1 billion in the first day. Just point that out. There's a reason that they released this. I do want to point out something, and this is more of just a tin hat, foil, hat. Okay. Here's just an idea I have that no one else will have, and I have no rationale for it. I believe the reason that game was released in April is because it was the beginning of a new fiscal year. That is just my estimation.
That makes sense.
I'm beginning to believe that April is to video games what January is to movies.
Dumpuary?
Yes. Because, the whole concept is just the idea that you just release whatever shit you didn't want to do already, or you re-release stuff that doesn't matter.
Yeah, well, it's interesting, too, because the prestige season for video games and films, they tend to line up.
One's going for the gold, the other's going for the money.
Yeah, but so they always get released, late fall into December. But then, yeah, it's interesting to see how films, they always dump in January, February, whereas video games tend to dump in April.
Dump.
Mm.
Let's move over to the NPDs. What do NPDs stand for? Actually, nothing. They used to stand for something, National Product Description, but now they just stand for NPD Group. We have information regarding the 10 best-selling games of April, but more importantly, the best-selling consoles of April. And in this month, this month of April, the old Easter Bunny must have dropped off a lot of Microsoft machines because the Xbox One took the top spot. According to the VP of Marketing, Mike Nicholas, as the best-selling console in the U.S. in April, fans set a record April sales and engagement for Xbox One last month. Xbox One console sales in the U.S. increased 63% in April 2015 compared to April 2014, and Xbox Live comparisons showed a number of active global users that grew 24%. I don't know why I'm doing a British accent for this guy. All I know is that, yes, they did very well, and I would imagine that a lot of these sales, and this is just me speculating, but April is when we have tax season. Some people do it a little early, some people do it at the very end, but if you are someone that makes, not a whole lot of money, you're probably going to get your check back a little quicker, sometime instantaneously if you go through a number of popular services. Meaning that maybe people that don't have a whole lot of, disposable income might just pick it up and go, hey, let's go get an Xbox.
Yeah, that seems likely. And also, you and I were talking about this earlier off air, but I wonder how many of these console sales are to people who already have a console from this generation. Because now, the PS4 and the Wii U have been around long enough that early adopters of those consoles might be starting to get to the point where they're branching out and getting the other console.
Who do you know that just owns an Xbox One? Not a PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, just an Xbox One.
I don't know a single soul.
You don't know one soul?
Nope, not one.
Actually,
one. Well, yeah, you're one of the only people I know that actually owns an Xbox One, period.
And they're really good. That's what breaks my heart is Xbox One is super good, so I'm very happy that it's doing well. However, I hope that Sony steps it up just a little better. In fact, Sony did chime in. Here's a great little bit. Here's from Sony. According to NPD, PlayStation continues to lead software sales for April 2015, and PlayStation 4 remains the cumulative sales leader in the U.S. We are looking forward to an amazing E3. Back to you, Microsoft. NPD Group, Liam Canal. Oh, my God. Okay, wait, I butchered his name. Callahan.
You weren't even close.
No. I gotta stop drinking before we do the show. Here's what he said. Hardware sales decreased by 4% due to the 55% decline in sales of 7th generation console hardware. That's the Xbox 360 and PS3 and Wii, of course. The current gen console sales apparently are doing just fine, and portable hardware increased by 36%. So, all right, Sony apparently sold more games. Microsoft sold more consoles. But which games sold? I'm so glad you asked, Steve. Thank you for asking that.
Bloodborne?
Here are the 10 best-selling games in America for April 2015. Number 10 is Borderlands, the Handsome Collection. Number 9 is Super Smash Bros., which is 3DS and Nintendo Wii U combined, which I think is a scam, because they are different games. Number 8 is Dark Souls 2, Scholar of the First Sin. Number 7 is Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. Number 6 is NBA 2K15. I guess people had their memories erased as to why people aren't too happy about that game. They erased their save files. That was me being smug. Yeah. I'm sorry. Number 5 was Minecraft. Number 4 was MLB The Show. Such a good baseball game. Number 3 was Battlefield Hardline. Underrated game. Number 2 was Grand Theft Auto 5. And number 1 was Mortal Kombat X.
Oh, no Bloodborne. Darn.
Yes, that is absolutely correct. That Bloodborne is nowhere in the top 10 list. Now, but keep in mind, if we look at this list, MLB The Show is the only, I guess MLB The Show and Super Smash Bros. Are the only exclusives. Mm-hmm. Company exclusives, not necessarily platform, because I would say that 3DS and Wii U, it's not even remotely the same.
Well, MLB The Show might as well, because there's no Vita version, is there? There might not be. I don't think there is. But even if there is, it doesn't matter.
There used to be, but I don't know what they did this year.
Yeah.
No, there is. That's weird.
But I mean, overall, with the number of Vita users, that number's basically irrelevant. So MLB The Show is like really the only true.
It's the only true baseball game. Period.
It's the only baseball game. If you want to play baseball, that's what you gotta get.
And by the way, it is amazing. Mm-hmm. That is where my player, Boof Big Dog, resides.
Isn't it funny that like 10, 15 years ago, we had just multiple sports games?
Yeah.
Different franchises, and now there's basically like one for everything.
We got a football, we got a baseball.
Now we don't have any college football.
Oh, yeah, no. Yeah. Well, all right, let's move over to Sony news. They actually released the best-selling PlayStation Network games, which should give you some light on the differences between the NPDs and Sony's network. I'm not going to read the top 10 for the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3, and Vita. However, I am going to read the top 10 for the PlayStation 4 because I think that's a very interesting comparison. Keep in mind that PlayStation Network has the most subscribers of the current generation. Keep that in mind, kids, because it has more systems. And so here's what we have. Number 10 is Dark Souls 2. Number 9 is Axiom Verge. Good to hear about that. Number 8 is Battlefield Hardline. Number 7 is Borderlands The Handsome Collection. Number 6 is Minecraft, PlayStation 4 edition. Number 5 is Shovel Knight. Ooh, I vibrate with joy. Number 4 is Grand Theft Auto 5. Number 3 is MLB 15 The Show. Number 2 is Bloodborne. And number 1 is Mortal Kombat X. Isn't that fascinating?
That is fascinating.
Worth pointing out, though, that somehow Grand Theft Auto 4 ended up in 4th place on the PlayStation 3 list.
Was there like a sale or something?
There was, because number 7 is Dante's Inferno. Dante's Inferno.
What were they paying you to download that game?
Well, if they did, it was for the sin of greed. I don't know if you heard about all the weird shit they did, where they were literally mailing like food and money to publishers.
Oh, no, I didn't know about that.
Yeah, there was like a free check, but if you cashed it in, you were committing one of the 7 deadly sins. Yeah.
Well, you know, Dante's Inferno is it's definitely my favorite palette swap God of War mod.
Yeah. I mean, actually, it's a lot like the book, because if you read the book, it's very poetic and very beautiful. But at one point, Dante kicks a guy into the river Styx. So I guess you could just make an entirely violent game. Seriously, guys, read Dante's Inferno. Well, read, Purgato.
Read the instruction manual for Dante's Inferno.
Seriously, Purgato and Paradisa are really good. Paradisa's a bit boring, but like, God, those books are so good. Why don't they just honestly, you could make a game based off of that. It would be so good. Whatever. In fact, I had read the entire, I keep thinking the fucking Iliad. What's wrong with me? Whatever. Dante's bullshit book, whatever it was called. I read the whole thing, and then the game got announced. I was like, wow, oh. Let's talk about the top 10 Vita games, because I think that's really interesting to point out where Vita is. Number 10 was Uncharted Golden Abyss, which is actually quite a good game. One of the worst endings of any video game I've ever played, though, just for a combat sequence. Quick time events. Great. Number 9 is Touch My Katamari, if you know what I mean. Number 8 is Hotline Miami. Number 7 is Sword Art Online Hollow Fragment. Number 6 is Titan Souls. Number 5 is One Piece Ultimate World Red. Number 4 is Minecraft PlayStation Vita Edition. Number 3 is MLB The Show. Yay! Because they didn't list it in the NPDs. Stupid NPDs. I thought it was there. Okay,
there we go.
I'm happy. Number 2
Sold
was
6 copies.
Batman Arkham Origins Blackgate.
Ugh.
And number 1 was Shovel Knight. I love Shovel Knight. I love it.
Pretty great.
It is
one of my favorite games from last year. Maybe my favorite.
Number 2 on my list. Number 1, of course, was Bayonetta 2. Obviously. Only a fool would not agree. Only a fool. All right. Let's go over to the UK, the cursed island of the United Kingdom, where rats will gnaw off your knees if you are there for longer than 4 minutes.
You're kneeling in rat cages.
That's true. You can say that about anywhere, though. You know? Here are the top 10 best-selling games in the UK. Number 10 is Destiny. Number 9 is Halo the Master Chief Collection. Number 8 is Minecraft. Number 7 is Battlefield Hardline. Number 6 is Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. Number 5 is Dying Light. Number 4 is FIFA 15. These are weekly sales charts, okay? This is important for what we're getting to. Number 3 is Mortal Kombat X. Number 2 is Grand Theft Auto 5. And number 1, how do you do that with my voice? That was cool sounding. Project Cars. Yay!
There we go.
Now let's go over to the land where you can actually get, like sushi any time of the day. Like, for real. Like, you don't have to go to the fucking gas station and pick up some gnarly shit. You can get, like, the best stuff in the world.
Are you eating gas station California rolls? Well,
Yep.
I told you about that, Colin.
Hey, they're so good. I'm addicted. They're so affordable. I like to be thrifty. Let's go over to the Japanese sales charts, thanks to Media Create. Number 10 is Theater Rhythm Dragon Quest. Number 9 is Super Smash Bros. For 3DS. Because they actually have integrity and separate those two. Number 8 is Mario Kart 8. Number 7 is Yokai Watch 2, Shinuchi. All right. Number 6 is Mario Party 10. Boo. Number 5 is Bravely Second, dropping a significant portion from its first place position. Number 4 is Xenoblade Chronicles X. Number 3 is Minecraft PlayStation Vita Edition. Number 2 is Style Savvy 3 Kira Kira Code. And number 1 is Puzzle and Dragon Super Mario Brothers Edition, which is quite exciting. Now let's go over to the best-selling hardware in Japan, because I love doing this. I can't help it.
Wait. Big prediction.
Uh-huh.
PlayStation 4 good, Xbox One bad.
Of sorts. Sort of. Yes. The new Nintendo 3DS XL actually topped the charts with 17,604, followed by the PlayStation Vita with 16,715. Very good for the Vita. Then we get to PlayStation 4 with 14,591, Wii U with 8,864, new Nintendo 3DS with 4,717, PlayStation 3 with 3,480, Nintendo 3DS XL, the original model, 1,417, the original 3DS with 973, PlayStation Vita TV with 484.
Vita TV.
And in last place, the Xbox One with 256. And that's going to do it for the Chart Park, the land where money grows on trees. Oh, man. Steve.
Colin.
We have stuff to get to. We have to get to Pocket Talk.
Pack Attack?
This week in history. And, of course, the pressure points. But real quick, I did want to mention something I read earlier today. They're going to make a television channel strictly about Marvel and Star Wars.
What?
Did you not hear about that?
No, so it's like a Disney Channel type thing,
Yeah.
but Marvel and Star Wars?
Yeah.
Okay.
When I think of Marvel and Star Wars, the last thing I think about is television, right?
Hmm?
Okay.
Yeah.
And also, when I think about...
Are they going to show the Christmas special?
Oh, wow. Lumpy.
Star Wars Christmas special.
Have you actually watched that?
Yeah, I've watched a rip of it. It's pretty horrendous.
I get that it's supposed to be like a variety show. Like variety shows back then, they would just do a little sketch and then they would do a musical number.
Mm-hmm.
But there's like that confusing sequence where like one of them's trying to cook something and there's like a 4-armed robot that's like telling them how to swish the bowl.
It's no Lawrence Welk.
Is Lawrence Welk actually in that?
No, but he just did a shitty variety show.
Okay. Because everyone's covered in like 5 pounds of makeup. But you know what I'm saying? Like, how are you going to make a television network out of fucking Star Wars? And why would you even do that? The future is not in television. Why is Disney investing so much in that?
Because it doesn't cost them anything.
You're my media guy. I have to ask you.
So
You're not my media guy. I mean, I'm saying like you're my go-to media guy.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like I'm upstairs smoking a cigar and saying, "Boy, what can you tell me about the old, what's going on with that Digimon cartoon?"
Here's where they make money.
Okay.
So if you look at something, if you look at any dedicated niche television channel, like if you look at the Sci-Fi Channel, if you look at even the Disney Channel,
I
and
try not to look at Sci-Fi Channel.
Where they started and where they are now. If you look at the Food Network, if you look at MTV is the best example. MTV started, what do? They played music videos. Why did they play music videos? Because they were cheaply available and they could, do things for the kids. So when new cable networks like this start up, they have all this programming that doesn't cost any money and it fills a niche. When they become popular, then they can branch out, do their own thing, and then create their own intellectual properties and make more money. So Disney is going to have a Star Wars/Marvel channel that they'll call like Geek Central HQ or something dumb. They have all of this intellectual property that they can fill programming with, and then they can bypass things like Netflix for their new shows. So I guarantee a few years from now, there'll be a new season of Daredevil, and it'll be only on the Marvel Jerk-Off channel. Okay,
because you realize this is the complete opposite of what happened at G4. They had only original content, and then they just started airing cops, and then they just started airing other people's shows.
They did it backwards.
Because it was cheaper than actually producing their own content.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when you were describing that, I was like, oh my God. Obviously that's what every network aspires to be, is establishing, just being like, Comedy Central, great thing. We're playing SNL reruns. Here's an awful movie. Here's Mighty Python. They used to play Mighty Python way back in the late 80s. And then eventually they're just kind of like, hey, look, MST3K is doing pretty good. Maybe we don't need to air Absolutely Fabulous for 10 hours a day.
Yeah. So what you do is you establish a brand identity and then you branch out to a broader audience. So MTV, music, television. But now, because their audience was primarily teenagers, it's broader than just music television. It's music for shithead 15-year-olds. Or television for shithead 15-year-olds.
Yeah, but True Life's pretty good.
Yeah, it is pretty good. I like it.
You think you know, Steve.
You have no idea.
You have no idea, sir. All right. Screw this. Let's get tiny. It's time for Pocket Talk.
Yeah!
This is where we talk about all things in mobile and portable, and we're kicking it off with some 3DS news for all you people that roll your eyes whenever we talk about phones. Dragon Quest VIII, the PS2 exclusive, will be coming to the 3DS. It will arrive on August 27th in Japan. Personally, I'm a little disappointed that's coming to the 3DS. I think it should be a new 3DS exclusive because I really don't like the idea of other people that have not spent the amount of money that I have to invest in the future of the 3DS getting their grubby little fingers on it. Do you like Dragon Quest VIII?
I've never played it.
Oh my god.
Played 7, I didn't play 8, but...
8's like the best 3D one.
7 was the one that they ported to the DS, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, that's where I played it on. I think they're great for, I almost said mobile games, handhelds. I think it's a great way to play Dragon Quest. I'm looking forward to it. I'll probably pick it up, so that's cool.
Dragon Quest VIII is Dragon Quest perfection. It is one of the best JRPGs ever? Yeah, let's just go with that.
Smart move, too, because I know the DS port of Dragon Quest VII did really, really well, and the Wii MMO Dragon Quest tanked horribly, which is really saying something. If you can tank with a Dragon Quest game in Japan, that's impressive.
Well, going from a single-player RPG to an MMO is kind of a stretch. Mm-hmm. Speaking of stretches, Nintendo 3DS has a brand new free-to-start game called Stretchmo. If you're a fan of Pushmo or, Crashmo, you'll want to check out Stretchmo. Unlike the previous games, you're actually able to pull out, cabinets inside of the boxes now. You can only really play tutorial, though, and then you have to cough up $5 for the main attraction and $3 for the rest, which altogether there are 4 attractions. Or you can just give them $10 and you get it all. But you get 200 stages. Give them the $10.
$10, yeah.
Have you ever played any of the Pushmo games?
Yeah, I played the original Pushmo, and I liked it a lot. I haven't gotten around to Crashmo yet, just because I don't have time.
Nintendo is stupid, and they're failures at everything they do because they did not take the Pushmo guy and put him in Super Smash Brothers. Can you imagine that? If he just grabbed you and started pulling you and then slammed you? Oh!
Well, you never know. They're doing that fan voting DLC character stuff, so...
That music in that game makes me so happy. I love Pushmo. Monster Strike, the mobile game from Mixie Monster... Wait,
Mixmaster Mike?
Mixie's Monster Strike. It is making $3.8 million per day. It's been downloaded over 30 million times, and it's getting closer to reaching $1 billion. That means it'll be the second mobile game in history, besides Puzzle and Dragon. That'll be coming to, Puzzle and Dragon, of course, is coming to 3DS soon with the Mario version. So this would mean that Monster Strike will be the second game ever on mobile to reach $1 billion in revenue.
This is Pocket Talk X or Cross Shark Park.
Does that mean that it's real and someone's actually hurt when you do the whole X thing?
Yeah.
Crossy Road apparently has more active players than either Candy Crush or Clash of Clans, but don't get too excited yet. It doesn't make nearly as much money.
No, it shouldn't, because the dev's not a scumbag and there's not microtransactions.
There are transactions, of course, but not microtransactions. It's not like, hey, you want to cross the road again? Give us $1.
Yeah, you can unlock everything just by playing, and it's not difficult to unlock things at all. And if you really want to spend money, you can, but it's all cosmetic. There's no bullshit.
70 million downloads.
Believe it.
I can't.
It's damn good.
Yeah, but good things don't succeed. That is what I've learned, you know? That's why we're never going to see, Terry Gilliam's Don Quixote film.
And it's from a dev who makes crazy, weird indie games, and he just made Crossy Road as, an income revenue. So he's going to take his money and make crazy shit, which is perfect.
I'm just so happy to see Frogger continue in any incarnation, because Frogger is one of the best games ever. But seriously, Jesus, if you're going to play one version of it, you should actually play, what is that, not Crossy Road, God, what's it called, Highway on the Atari? With the chicken?
Yeah.
That's a really good version of Frogger. Don't play Frogger on 2600. It's not good. No. Rival Kingdoms, which of course is made by Space Ape, a UK developer, has already been downloaded 1 million times in its first week. Who cares? Layoffs have hit Natural Motion. They are now a division of their parent company, Zynga. Yes. They are laying off a number of people as a way to foster more creativity and innovation. Whatever. Who gives a shit? Zynga is having a big problem right now because they lost $45 million the last quarter, and $226 million in the last fiscal year. I mean, my heart goes out to Natural Motion. Them getting bought up by Zynga did seem like it would lead into an area of console development. Mm-hmm. However, the experimentation is over. Obviously, Don Matrick is out. People have Pincus has stepped back in, and they're going back into mobile. And Natural Motion simply doesn't have a position in there anymore. It's not a requirement.
Yep. Man. The Zynga boat is sinking. It seems like every month I read at least one story about something sad happening to Zynga, and I'm just like, well, yeah.
Well, I don't blame anybody for not investing.
Take notes, King Games.
Frankly, I don't like their logo. It's a dog, and I don't know what the fuck that dog is up to. I don't trust it. Like, that's just it. And that's why you're losing all your money, and that's why I had to lay off people, because you had to have a stupid dog. Red Dog beer. They still make that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Buy yourself a Dirty 30 for like $20.
That stuff is awful.
Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah,
it's grandpa beer.
I'm going to get some of that. Gree is shutting down their Vancouver studios. Gree, of course, is the Japanese gaming firm. They are going to be shutting down Vancouver studios after evaluating market conditions. Uh-oh. And that was it for Pocket Talk. I told you it was going to be short this week.
Yeah.
I told you that Chart Park was going to take up most of it. So anyway, what else can we talk about? Sorry. There's just a wave of stupidity emanating from outside this room. That's because it's time.
Not me for once.
It's time for the idiot of the week. And this idiot of the week is not homophobic or threatening to. He's not threatening civil rights for once. Although that doesn't mean that they are not involved in some element of censorship. And I don't use censorship in the light term like most other idiots where it's like, you delete my YouTube comment, you're censoring me. Like, okay, whatever. I'd totally delete YouTube comments if people are using certain words. Konami has decided to take down a video by George Wildman. Wadman? He's known as Super Bunny Hop on YouTube. Very popular guy. Mm-hmm. He's he's a little controversial in his opinions, but I think he's just being generally honest with what he thinks. So that's always welcomed. Yeah. He had a video about Konami versus Kojima. Kojima, of course, obviously leaving Konami, and he had a source that had given him a number of tidbits, if you will. He even stated during his video, I'm not sure if all this is true, and I'm not going to name my source, but I'm going to say everything that this source told me, right? Mm-hmm. Konami said, no, you're not, and they took down the video. They hit it with a claim, and they removed the entire video from being seen by anybody. So let's get this straight. You're leaving your home, which is video games. You're leaving your second home, which is consoles. You've pissed off everybody that likes Metal Gear Solid, a very vocal group of people. And now you're taking down YouTube videos.
Yeah, and how would you not know this was going to be a PR disaster? Like, Super Bunny Hop, I don't watch his videos, but I'm very familiar with who he is. He's a very big YouTube personality, so... And
surprisingly, not sexist or homophobic.
Yeah, which is a bonus.
Although still very stern in his beliefs, which is nice.
Yeah, so if you yank his video, you don't think there's going to be a huge, like, backlash from people? Of course there's going to be. And this is a big problem with YouTube in general, because... you can DMCA take down anything you want. I could go flag all your videos and say, I own all the video games.
You could.
And there's nothing to stop that from happening.
No, it's insane.
And it's a horrible process, because if there's a false DMC takedown of your content, you can appeal, and then after the appeal, you either win or you lose, and then you have to go through like this copyright school thing through YouTube that takes up a few hours. It's a fucking mess. And then ultimately the company, they have several months or something before they can pull back on it, before they're legally required to take action against you in order for it to stand. But until then, they can basically fuck your revenue stream for that video and put your account in bad standing for months.
I'm not sure if they can really put your account in bad standing as much as they used to. They have revamped. You're absolutely correct that is exactly what happened for, almost a decade, But more or less, it's evolved down to the point where if I put up a video and Mario is giggling and jumping around and jumping on Goombas and bullshit, I get a copyright claim that takes my monetization. The video itself is not taken down.
Yeah.
And I've had instances where they're just like, nope, no one can watch your video. but it doesn't really affect my standing.
Mm-hmm.
They've evolved those practices. However, regardless, while you're correct, you're absolutely correct. And who knows? Maybe he is in bad standing right now. We don't know.
Mm-hmm.
They took his video down.
Yeah, if they take your video down, that's a strike. And if you get a strike, you get in trouble.
They took my video down. And I didn't get a strike.
Okay. Okay.
But this is I'm late to this whole game.
Okay.
And I've known a number of YouTube personalities. Fuck it. I know a number of people that make reviews and shit. I don't know any YouTube personalities. The fuck am I saying? Yeah, jeez. I know my fellow YouTubers.
You're tight bro PewDiePie.
Who the fuck was... I gotta remember where the fuck that kid was from. Who's like, as a fellow YouTuber, he was talking to me on YouTube. I'm like, fuck you. A fellow YouTuber? Where's our code of ethics for YouTube? But
it's
still,
dicey, man.
Yeah. Regardless, Konami has decided to say, nope, you can't talk about this.
Mm. I just think YouTube really needs to step in at some point in the future, especially because they're getting so huge right now, especially with gameplay stuff. There needs to be repercussions for companies or individuals who make false claims on videos.
Oh, yeah.
It's fucking ridiculous. Like, the number, if I go through my reviews that I've done on YouTube,
oh, yeah,
and the number, and when I look at the reviews that have gotten copyright claims and things like that, oddly enough, they're always for negative reviews. None of the positive reviews I've ever given have gotten a single copyright claim.
I totally agree with you there. That's always what happens to me.
Now, I've gotten content ID'd before,
yeah,
and that's one thing. But then I appeal to content ID and it's fine. Mm-hmm. But the only ones that ever stick are the ones where I'm like, this is a pile of hot garbage.
Oh, sure. Yeah, no. Same here. That actually happens to me. But however, Konami, for trying to cover up this goddamn story, you've already screwed over PT. Mm-hmm. You already screwed over Silent Hills, Guillermo del Toro, the Castlevania series. For them just trying to take down YouTube, you act like you don't give a shit, and then you're like, no, don't talk about us. You are the idiot of the week.
Eat shit, Konami.
That was it for the idiot of the week there. We only have 2 more segments left, but we got like 15 minutes,
hey,
14
that's good.
minutes.
Well, normally we're like rushing at the end, so that's good.
We are going to be rushing at the end.
Because it's the pressure points.
Woo! Well, Steve did the intro, the music started and all that type of shit. Hey, Assassin's Creed Syndicate has been officially announced by Ubisoft. It will take place in Victorian England, specifically London, 1968. You will play as Jacob Frey, and you'll have a brand new rope ladder that allows you to kind of like, jettison yourself towards rooftops. You can climb up there or use it as a zip line. The combat will be focusing mostly on melee, involving punching and whatnot, and your goal as an assassin would be taking over a crime syndicate involving hijacking horses and buggies and fighting on top of them.
Arkham Creed, Assassin Man.
I'll be real with you, I could not be more excited. It looks fantastic, and you'll also have a playable woman named Evie, which is kind of cool. You also will be activating stealth mode instead of walking into a sequence and then turning on stealth mode automatically, where your guy walks all weird,
pushing past people.
You actually activate hoods up mode and put your you put your hood on, and then you kill people. Usually it's the other way around. Hey-o! Okay. Yeah. Yes. You won't actually need to hide around your environment. You just kind of have your hood up, and people will just be unassuming of you for the most part, which is kind of cool. It's more about your behavior and you affecting the environment. Like I said, you're going to be running around and punching the crap out of people. It looks really exciting, and most importantly, the multiplayer features include not having multiplayer. They are focusing all 9 studios, as the director has stated, all 9 studios are focused in delivering the single-player experience.
Good.
Hey, you want to have DLC? Create multiplayer there. Don't waste your time right now. Which is awesome. Mm-hmm. They said that the hand-to-hand combat is very fast. They've really focused on making sure combat feels great, and they don't want to have to keep balancing that between online and single-player.
I think that's fair. It makes sense. I mean, Assassin's Creed online play has never been particularly popular anyway, so...
I know some people that are very into it, People that only own Assassin's Creed games. Moving on! They've also mentioned that they're going to try and learn their lessons from Assassin's Creed Unity, which is good.
Don't release a glitchy, buggy pile of garbage.
In the word of them, they said, nobody's happy when 4 years of hard work is just imagined with a bug. Sorry, guys. Rainbow Six Siege will be released on October 13th, this fall. That is all we know so far. The Division is being delayed until 2016. It will not be released on PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360.
Not surprising.
Worth noting, Nintendo apparently is abandoning their plans to release a unique console in China. Last year, we heard from Iwata, "We want to make new things with new thinking rather than a cheaper version of what we currently have. The product and price balance must be made from scratch." According to a number of inside sources, they have no intention of expanding into China.
Huh, that's surprising. You'd think they just that Wii that they released without online connectivity.
They released that in
Canada, Europe.
Yeah, it was in Canada, which is also another a horrible territory, communist country.
Yeah, why not just take all those unsold ones or the whatever you got lying around? That's gonna be dirt cheap to manufacture. Toss them over in China.
Unsold? What are you implying, sir? They sold all of them. Iwata has stated that the NX, the mystery console we know nothing about, will not be a replacement for the Wii U or 3DS. Worth noting, though, that the DS is not a replacement for the Game Boy lineup. So, still waiting on that new Game Boy. Isn't that what you said in 2004, Iwata? Just saying. Iwata has also said that the NX will possibly be region-free. He said, removing region locking from current game machines presents various issues, so we don't consider it to be very realistic. However, regarding NX, given the customer feedback and proposals from the market, while nothing has been decided yet, we're currently investigating internally what problems there would be in realizing it. How about you just said, hey, we're looking into it, and then, hold up a hoagie. That's how you win in America.
That's all you gotta do.
Yeah. Iwata has stated once again, the NX will not be at E3. Do not expect anything about NX. It is merely a concept right now. Wait till 2017. However, the DNA cross-platform membership service could possibly debut this fall.
Will Reggie be in a pink tracksuit at E3?
Oh my god, I love that video. We didn't even talk about that, did we? You see the video where he's wearing he's dressed up like Little Mac and he's training? And he tells Bill Trimman, you're fired. Bill Trimman's been with Nintendo for a long time. He translates their games. It's a lot of inside baseball. And there's a child that runs Nintendo for about 2 days.
Produced by Mega 64, too.
Was that really Mega 64?
Yeah, Mega 64 did it.
Wow.
They did their E3 video last year when they had Cyborg Reggie.
Yeah, well, no. Yeah, they did that. But then Robot Chicken did the actual...
Oh yeah, the actual E3.
Dude, Project Chicken's Robot Chicken's pretty funny. Because what if something that's for kids or whatever, what if they were really violent or really doing
What
drugs?
if action figures did swears?
Yeah, they did, but they do it really hard and it's super dark. It's really dark because things are dying and people are crying and saying why. That's funny. Oh my god, let's do that for 10 fucking years. Seriously, Raw Chicken, if you think that's funny, we don't see eye to eye. Awful, generic.
Oh, wait, side note. The guy who does all the stop-motion movements
which is
for
good.
Robot Chicken,
I like his...
He modified a Nintendo Power Glove to do all of his animation work.
Oh, wow. He's great. I'm not disputing the animations. I'm just saying... Awful scripts. Horrible scripts. Miyamoto has a game called Project Giant Robot. It will be released in the first half of 2015, which means, starting in June, it could be out.
What do you think it's about?
I don't know. I'm assuming it's about turtles. Maybe a plumber.
Maybe it's a sequel to that 64 DD game about, the giant yellow robot. What was that called?
Giant Robo?
Oh, it's called, Doshin the Giant.
Doshin the Motherfucker! Which was also released on the GameCube.
Hey,
and over in Europe. So
shout out to Doshin the Giant.
Damn it, I can't believe I didn't remember that. There was also a sequel to it, I want to say. No, maybe it is just a remake. God damn it. I can't believe I didn't remember the name of that. I love my obscure video games.
I've stumped you with my gamer knowledge.
Give it up, Steve. Where's the children? Where's the children? Where are the children? Which is a hypothetical and an imaginary situation.
I abduct kids.
I stole the children because I have gamer knowledge. Fire Emblem, the new Fire Emblem game called Fire Emblem If over in Japan, it's going to have a brand new difficulty mode called Phoenix Difficulty. Why is it called Phoenix? Because you'll be able to revive dead units after each turn if you're really that much of a baby. Also, weapon durability is getting out of here, which actually I'd be fine with getting rid of weapon durability. As it never came into play.
No, it never really did. Because it took so long for something to break that I always had extra stuff, and you were constantly winning things from other enemies. Yeah, it was never a big issue for me.
I would be happy if they actually kept it in the game, but if they like licensed that one song one step closer to the edge, so when it's about to break, it goes, and now I'm about to break.
Just license the voice of the guy from Linkin Park.
Is that Linkin Park?
Yeah.
They are awful. Let's move on.
I don't even think he's about to break. I think he's full of shit.
Man, remember their Jay-Z album? All right. So, there's a silver amiibo. That'll be released this month, May 29th, $13. No pre-order, as you point out to me,
Start
Steve.
camping out now.
I had no idea that there was not a pre-order. Madness. All right, let's move over to Nintendo will allow you to try Splatoon one last time at May 23rd, which is a Saturday. That's 5 p.m. Central Time.
Quit your job.
Yes. Thank you for giving us one last chance. By the way, Nintendo is going to have their E3 press conference at 9 a.m. as usual, and Square Enix will move an hour later so that they don't conflict at 10 a.m., which is great. Mm-hmm. Also, Uncharted will have character models that feature over 300 to 500 bones in their faces, making them have very realistic expressions, whereas The Last of Us only used 90 to 100 bones in their faces. I assume that also takes remastered into account, which would be very impressive. They are shooting for 60 frames a second. Over in the UK, we've learned from Fergal Varga, he is the Sony UK managing director, that No Man's Sky will be treated as if it was from one of our internal studios. We have been working very closely with the developers and bringing it into our release program as if we had made it. You know why Sony has to do that? Because they don't have a single fucking first-party game coming out anytime soon. I love Sony. I bought the PlayStation 3. I evangelized the PlayStation 3. You know why? Because you can't play Journey anywhere else. You can't play Flow anywhere else. You can't play Uncharted anywhere else. You can't play Last of Us anywhere else. You can't play 3D Dot Game Hero anywhere else. You can't play Ni no Kuni anywhere else. You can't play, all these games. What does the PlayStation 4 have for exclusives?
Bloodborne.
Damn, that's a pretty good game. All right, I take it back. Ratchet & Clank has a brand new movie, of course. Well, their very first movie. That'll feature the voice acting of Paul Giamatti, Rosario Dawson, Bella Thorne, John Goodman, and Sylvester Stallone.
Wait, Sly Stallone as Clank.
I'm a robot. You guys guns.
Then you got Clank.
No.
I'm Clank. Yabba dabba doo. All right, you figure out who that is. They will have...
That's what you went for with John Goodman?
Yeah.
You went Fred Flintstone.
Yeah, that's Xbox. We have news. Phil Spencer has said that they will have new IP at E3, and he's already said it will be the greatest games lineup in Xbox history. Look forward to that. Also, at E3, they will have a fan festival for 500 fans for the Microsoft event. You will gain access to the Fan Fest party. That is at Monday afternoon. You'll also be able to play some new games. You'll meet YouTube celebrities and esports celebrities and Twitch party people, and even get to go to the E3 press conference, which means you'll be the people that clap way too loud when they announce really boring shit. That's what Sony always does.
Yeah, I heard at the end of FanFest they're actually going to take a hot brand and brand consume right under your forehead. It's going to be cool.
What is it, like They Live or something? All right, awesome. Moving over to Xbox One news, Xbox Live now has voice messages.
Yay.
And if you are one of the people that is playing the Gears of War beta or alpha or whatever it is, the Gears of War HD, they want to make it very clear. Here's what the Microsoft spokesperson had to say if you are in any way sharing that footage. To be clear, if a console is suspended from Xbox Live for a violation of terms of use, it can still be used offline. Why is he bringing this up? Because if you share that damn footage, they're taking your ass offline. Considering that they need to validate your connection to allow you to play that alpha. So, do not do that. Oh my god. We only have oh my god, we have like 10 minutes left. Holy crap. Here we go. Guitar Hero Live. Here is the track list. We have some extra songs that you haven't heard about. Judas Priest, Breaking the Law, Pantera, Cowboys from Hell, Alter Bridge, Cries of Achilles, Rage Against the Machines, Guerrilla Radio, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Higher Ground, Sleigh Bells, Bitter Rivals, System of a Down, Chop Suey, Black Veil Brides, In the End, The Pretty Reckless, Going to Hell, Broken Bells, Leave It Alone, Alt J, Left Hand Free, The Rolling Stones, Paint It Black, My Chemical Romance, Na Na Na, Fall Out Boy, My Songs Know What You Did in the Dark, Green Day, Nuclear Family, Pierce the Veil, King for a Day, Blitz Kid, Sometimes, The Black Keys, Gold on the Ceiling, The Killers, When You Were Young, Gary Clark Jr., Don't Owe You a Thing, The War on Drugs, Under the Pressure, The Luminaries, Hey Ho, Ed Sheeran, Sing, and Skrillex, Bang Rang. Now, let's juxtapose that with Rock Band 4's...
I hope it's better.
I
love... just made a wet fart noise for the Guitar Hero.
Avenged Sevenfold, Hail to the King, Fleetwood Mac, You Make Loving Fun.
Yeah.
I love that fucking track. I know. Jack White, Lazaretto? Jack White's Lazaretto? I don't know it. The Killers, Somebody Told Me. Spin Doctors, Little Miss Can't Be Wrong.
All right.
And The Who, The Streaker. I'm sorry, but those 6 songs are way the fuck cooler than...
Well, at least it's more varied. Like, the Guitar Hero ones sound like either things that have been in music games before or, like, obvious shit.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, Paint It Black, or just like some like teeny bop butt metal that I don't want to hear. Like I've never heard Black Veil Brides, but I guarantee if I were to Google them right now, I'd vomit.
Yes. Well, here's all I'm gonna say is Rock Band always knows what'll get you moving. They find the music because Little Miss Can't Be Wrong. Ooh, that's a good track. I love that track.
Oh my God, time to drink too much vodka and dance around with that microphone.
All right. Oh, I always do. Over at EA, they've decided to dance around some issues when they laid off a number of employees at Visceral Games, the developers of the upcoming Star Wars games. They said...
Saw that coming.
They said that everything's going to be cool, and they want to ensure the smoothest transition possible for the impacted employees. They also announced that Star Wars Battlefront gameplay will be debuted at E3 for the public, as well as introducing a new multiplayer mode. Moving over to Guillermo del Toro, he's also going to be apparently involved in E3 in some aspect, revolving Fallout 4's reveal. Here's what they had to say. There was a LinkedIn profile that mentioned Guillermo del Toro's production company, Myriad Studios, had been involved in the creation of a cinematic trailer for Fallout 4. Is that true? Probably. Wait till Sunday, day -1 of E3. I know. Del Toro has also reacted to the cancellation of Silent Hills. He said it was sort of a scorched earth approach. Honestly, that's what surprised me. It was not gentle and ambiguous cancellation. Hideo and I have been in touch, and he knows he would be the only guy I would follow to the ends of the earth on anything. I think if anything can be rescued, I'll be more than happy. Which is awesome. Mm-hmm. I just imagine that they're best buddies. And they're hanging around and talking about, like, Metal Gear Solid 6 and...
giving each other Eskimo kisses.
And Pacific Rim 2. Maybe he's giving him a Pacific Rim. Metal Gear 5... has a female character that got their own action figure. That's right, Quiet got her own action figure with squeezable breasts. I will still stand by the idea that Quiet, while very, sexually suggestive, I'm going to give it all the benefit of the doubt. I swear, Kojima is really subversive. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to wait to play the game.
He had me until Squishy Breast action figure.
He was
like, it's not about the sexy stuff. You'll see, silly boy.
He didn't make the action figure. He wouldn't even be involved in that right now. I give him the benefit of the doubt. I mean, have you played through the Metal Gear Solid games? Mm-hmm. Did you play through Part 3?
Yes.
We'll talk afterwards. I don't want to spoil it. Play Part 3. Hey, Diablo 3, speaking of 3, on its 3rd anniversary has added a cow level. That's right, a cow level. Moving on, Double Fine. Of course, cow level was in Part 2 as well. Double Fine's Massive Chalice will be released on June 1st for PC. It is leaving early access. Also, Double Fine is going to be making a cartoon out of Costume Quest in collaboration with Federator Studios. Those are the people behind, whatever it was.
Adventure Time.
Adventure Time, but Fairly Odd Parents, which is a great cartoon. As well as the awful Danny Phantom. Deadly Premonition director Hideki Shiryo, also known as Swery, has said that he was working on a different kind of game. Here's what he said. I'm also working on a story about a high school girl detective who uses the imagination fantasizing energy from masturbating to help solve murders. But all the publishers keep telling me there's no way we could put out such a perverted game. I wish someone would let me make it. Come on, Kickstarter.
Sounds like a CW show turned dark.
Yeah.
Psychic teen solves mysteries with masturbation.
Devil May Cry 4. Devil May Cry 4 will be released on June 23rd in North America and Europe, and when it will cost $20, $25, $20.
Sure.
Dishonored Definitive Edition is rumored for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. That game was never really that pretty, though. People always look at these screenshots. It's like, yeah, look at it in motion. Steam reaches 9.5 million concurrent users. Hooray, hooray. WildStar, that weird MMO, is probably going to be going free to play on Steam. That's what they are probably going to do. Dirt Rally, the PC stealth release for Dirt, might be coming to consoles. As is Divinity Original Sin, that'll be coming to consoles and receive a number of updates that will be naturally incorporated into the PC version. That includes multiplayer and, split screen multiplayer, co-op. That sounds really fun. And, wait for it, controller support. Ooh. And some new endings, voiceover acting, blah, 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 blah. Grandia 2 will also be joining Steam, one of the best JRPGs ever on the Dreamcast. And the Dreamcast had it had just a few JRPGs, but they were all really good.
Skies of Arcadia?
Skies of Arcadia. Grand Theft Auto 4's Ice Enhancer mod is actually come to Grand Theft Auto 5. It reduces, fog and actually changed the sun, the color of the sun. I'm talking over myself too much. We need to hurry this up along. Jurassic World, the Lego game, will be coming out alongside the film. Woo!
Yay!
Ark Survival Edition. Or Ark Survival Evolved, that's a dinosaur survival game, will be coming to the Xbox One and PS4. That's an open world game. It's already been announced for the PC. Woo! We already talked about Black Glove has been canceled. Woo! Starbreeze is launching its own publisher.
Hooray!
Yes. They make Payday 2 and Brother, A Tale of Two Sons. Unity has hired the former Microsoft employee Elizabeth Brown. She will be overseeing the full cycle of Unity talent. And finally, Mark Zuckerberg says, letting your kids play around with stuff is one of the best things you can do, and has encouraged all parents to allow their children to play video games.
Yep, play around with stuff. It's where he knows.
I've seen The Social Network, and I would recommend not listening to Mark Zuckerberg. You can donate all you want to charity. You're a creep. And that's going to do it for the pressure points. Stall them, Steve. Stall them.
Okay, I'm stalling. So, the other day, I went to Walgreens, and I bought a 6-pack of White Castle frozen sliders, and I microwaved them, and I ate them, and they were delicious. Now, inside of the box, there was a recipe card with fun recipes that you can make with your White Castle sliders. And one of them was Thanksgiving stuffing made out of sliders. So they literally wanted you to just, take fucking ripped up White Castle burgers and, smash them together with a bunch of bullshit and then stuff a turkey's asshole with White Castle. Who is doing that? Who in their right mind is you know what Thanksgiving needs? White Castle slider stuffing.
Great, Steve. That was perfect. That was actually perfect. Let's talk about This Week in History. 21 years ago in 1994, Alien vs. Predator came to the arcade, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah.
10 years ago, Seven Sins was released exclusively in the UK. It's basically The Sims where you have sex with people in a shop. 18 years ago, War Gods was released on the Nintendo 64. That was, of course, in 1997. And 14 years ago, on May 21st, Red Faction came to the PS2. I incorrectly said that it came to the PlayStation 2 in October. That was incorrect. I was thinking of Devil May Cry and Grand Theft Auto 3. I don't know. That was a very busy time for me. That's all I'm saying. What else we got right here this weekend? Oh my God. 25 years ago, Solitaire was released on PC in 1990. Final Fight 2 came to Japan on the Super Nintendo. 15 years ago, Perfect Dark hit the Nintendo 64.
Wow.
And usually I don't go anywhere lower than 10 years, but 9 years ago, there was Rockstar's Table Tennis.
Never forget.
Actually, me and Brandon play tennis a lot in Grand Theft Auto Online.
I would seriously buy a t-shirt that had Rockstar Table Tennis logo on the front and then just never forget on the back.
And lastly, 10 years ago, Fire Emblem and the Sacred Stones came onto the Game Boy Advance at a party after a few drinks. And lastly, WarioWare Twisted was released 10 years ago this week on the Game Boy Advance. A game that sadly has never been replicated.
Yeah.
That's very, very sad. That's going to do it for This Week in History. And more importantly, that's going to do it for the Pressure Cast. So, Steve, where can people reach you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter at Steve Cuff. You can go to OptimismVaccine.com where we write about video games and music and movies and popular culture and all kinds of like weird, niche, bizarro shit. All your guilty pleasures. That's what we write about. You can find me on YouTube. Just look up Optimism Vaccine. I got all kinds of stuff for you. We're also on ShepherdExpress.com.
Excellent. Awesome. Well, you can reach me on Twitter at Dr. Krychop. That's at Dr. Krychop, or follow the PressureCast at PressureCastPod. You can go to videogamesardumb.com, which is still a work in process, or you can go to the YouTube channel. Actually, just go to videogamesardumb.com. Click on the first hour, watch the videos. It'll connect you to the YouTube. I have reached 500 subscribers, so I'll be changing the name once Google sends me the email to officially change the name, and then I'll advertise the shit out of it. Remember to give me 5 stars on iTunes so that we can overcome all the salty people that hate the modern direction of the show, even though they never reviewed the show before the changes. Interesting. And that's going to do it. I know that some people are confused about the changes to the show, but they need to accept it because there's going to be so many changes around this show. Literally, governments will rise and fall. We will have supernovas. We will see the Earth eventually crash into the sun, but in the 5th dimension, this little show will continue because the Pressure Cast is forever. PressureCast, weekly video game news podcast, is solely owned and operated by Colin Tanner. Guests of the PressureCast are not employees or freelancers of Colin Tanner, the PressureCast, or VideoGamesAreDumb.com, and are not paid. Music featured on the PressureCast is property of their respective owners, and no infringement is intended. For more information, email pressurecast@gmail.com.